l'âme vacarme s'en va dans l'oubli éternel. Et Gustave dom guardiam dilim didididilam lutes serado dilom seram dim dim da 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 dim da 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 dim da di dam dim da 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 dim da 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 dim da di dam. Dans là-haut sera ravi, les toits à ce noir gris fera. Clair, obscur, trouble de rature, trouvera effet. Clair, obscur, bordé aux peintures, trouvera sans elle. Clair, obscur, trouble de rature, trouvera effet. Clair, obscur, bordé aux peintures, trouvera sans elle. Ô clair, obscur, trouble, rature, clair, obscur, guardé aux peintures. Clair, obscur, trouble de rature, courera effet. Clair, obscur, guardé aux peintures, trouvera sans elle. Clair, obscur.
All right, guys, that is all the lead-in music we are going to have for the night. How are y'all doing today? I hope y'all are having a wonderful time. I hope that everything is going super splendid. We have not one, not two, but three guests for you tonight, and they will be here hopefully momentarily. And if they don't, heck, we're going to have a great show. But with that being said, we have some really awesome topics tonight. I am so stinking excited. For those of y'all who are here, thank you for showing up early. What is up, Outsider Gaming Night? Dizzy Delta 99. Hero Down Under, Bender of Strings, Corey Massey, I got you. I saw you ask for Lumiere, and I was like, yeah, I got to give my boy what he wants. And so, appreciate you, appreciate y'all, and let's dive in. We have freaking awesome stuff going on. Tonight is, if they show up, it will be myself, Jez, Innate, and Frogs. And so, we are going to have a wonderful time, and like I said earlier, if not, we're going to have a great time regardless. I got y'all to talk to, and this will be wonderful. Also, one of the things that was revealed to me while doing the spoiler cast for Clair Obscur Expedition 33, which, by the way, if y'all have not seen that yet and want to, it is up on the channel. Go check that out. Wonderful time. Had a great time talking and discussing the game and just different points about it and different things. But one of the things that came through that was the fact that the discussions on games seems to be a little bit lost in the noise of news media, right? Seems to be lost in the noise of, man, we gotta get this news out there. We gotta talk and debate the news. We gotta give our fresh take and our opinion and blah, 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 blah. And somewhere down the line, we forget to discuss gaming and to discuss the thing that we love, which is games. And so I want to take a little bit of time during each week to just discuss games and gaming, different aspects of it, things like that. And so with that, tonight we do have a topic for tonight related to that. It is going to be like your favorite games, right? What is your favorite game? What makes a game your favorite? What do you look for in a game? Has there been a game that has surprised you? Things like that. And so we'll be discussing that tonight. And then, yes, we do have your typical boring, humdrum news topics tonight. We have Summer Games Fest. It happened. It was there. So we're going to discuss that because, well, I mean, it did happen. Thrift, how's your Death Stranding experience going? Are you liking it? Bender, I am not. I played 2 more hours of it on a stream, and so that gave me like 4 hours total in the story. 5 hours total if you count the setup, load in, and all that, but I don't. So like 4 hours total with the game. and I'm really struggling. I got so like I really wasn't even enjoying myself because like the story beats are great. The story beats of that game are absolutely awesome, and I'm on the edge of my seat. And then it's boring. Like it's just literally, and I'm not trying to say this to be mean, but it literally is just walking. If I could just get the story, I would be totally happy. Smuggling Grapes Fest, yeah, dude, it was rough. But I am gonna vent in your comment about Expedition 33 in your comment section at Thrifty because prepared, huh? Okay. Death Stranding is hard to push through. I dropped it again, dude. I don't know, like second and third missions, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, is this all I'm doing for the rest of the game? Is just delivering packages to certain like blah. It's just not fun. And so I still want to experience the story though. So I think I'm gonna like who was it? I think Morgan sent me something to kind of discuss that and go over and like it's a video that tells you like here's what happened in the story. Here's the story beats. Here's all the things that are going on. And so I really think that I'm going to get into it that way. And so because if they did a lot of different stuff in Death Stranding 2, I may still play Death Stranding 2 at some point, but like if I want to at least know the story. It's like what I tell folks with Final Fantasy VII Remake and versus Rebirth. If you can't get through Remake because of Cloud walking through every corridor and hallway and entryway so freaking slowly, then what you really need to do is just go online, find a YouTube video, listen to the Cliff Notes version, and start at Rebirth. Because Rebirth is absolutely at least a point and a half better than Remake was in terms of fluidity, in terms of mobility, traversal, like all of it. Heck, the pacing was better in Rebirth. And so, and what's funny is I thought Remake was a gem at the time. I thought it was amazing. And then they just like topped themselves with Rebirth. Anyways, so yeah, most surprising game for me this gen was Dave the Diver. It was the perfect palate cleanser after playing FF16. Yeah, you need to scrape that palate real hard after that game. No, I'm just kidding. I don't mind the game. I really enjoyed the story up until the end. I really enjoyed the graphics. The combat was fun. Just it didn't scratch that Final Fantasy itch for me. It really didn't. And what's funny is I have favorite characters that are in that game that like I lump in with the rest of the Final Fantasy characters. Like Jill is by far in my top 4 of female characters. I absolutely loved Jill in Final Fantasy 16. She was phenomenal. I absolutely loved her. And so, like, for me, it goes like, I don't know, it goes Yuna, Tifa, uh, and then this is where it gets a little, tricky because it goes Yuna, Tifa, and then right after it's a toss-up for me between Aerith and Jill, and I don't really know which one to go with. But anyways, yeah, I don't know, man. The fact that you can't use Terra for the first like third of the game kind of just sours that for me. Like she's no longer the lead singer in that story in my opinion. I know that she still is, but like I didn't by the time I picked her back up, she was a quest line. And so I know that sounds weird, but that's just how I viewed her. And now that I've spent more time with her and I'm close to the end, well, I'm about to go into the Esper thing to fight the. Well, they're about to open the gate. No? Or they're either about to open the gate or they did just open the gate. I can't remember which one, but I know I'm supposed to go north now. And Nelson Gaming Culture. Lightning? No, Lightning was female Cloud. That's all she was. Okay, here's the problem with 13. It didn't click with me until, Josh, you and I were having a conversation about it, and then I was listening to Final Fantasy Union talk about it a bit. And the problem with Lightning and the problem with Final Fantasy 13 is Yeah, is that you were supposed to. There was no helpful idiot at the beginning of the game. You were supposed to just freaking know. Like, oh yeah, this is what's going on. Is that in that order always? Wow. Hey, listen, you know what? You and I at least agree on number one. Yuna is my girl. Like, Final Fantasy X is my game. Yuna is my girl. I'm actually playing back through Final Fantasy X right now. As a matter of fact, leave in the comments right now what you're playing, because I'm always interested to know what you guys are into right now. Right now, I have picked back up Final Fantasy X, and I'm so happy. I'm just, like, it was just like picking up I don't know, an old pair of pants or an old pair of shoes. It just fits. It does what it's supposed to. No problems. Like, I remembered everything, like, crazily enough. Like, I'm on this playthrough, I'm in Mount Gagazet. And Yuna has left. For those who don't know, Yuna leaves your party for a time because some bad people have done some bad things, and she is awesome and amazing and would give herself for Spira, and so that's what she is trying to literally do at this point. And so, if I'm in the right section of the story, I think I am. You are once again, this is a save file from like 2 years ago. Um, Anyways, so that's where I'm at. I'm leveling up right now in the mountains, trying to get some people buffed up and beefed up before I have to go. I think this is going to be my first fight with Anima. And so, anyways, super excited about that. I'll get to X after I play more of Dissidia. Dissidia is something I've never played, and I've heard people talk about it. I've heard them say it's good. Heck, I know people who only know Final Fantasy characters because of Dissidia, which is crazy. FF16 is great. Give me the other three then, since Jill is 4. I'm playing Mind's Eye a bit, but getting lost on searching for the robots. Hey, Outsider Gaming Night, how is Mind's Eye? Is it good? Does it run? Okay, so Renoa, yes. Renoa, dang, I left her off my list. Oh shit, that sucks. Her and Squall are my favorite love story in Final Fantasy. Just hands down, 100% favorite love story, no questions asked. That whole story is fantastic, from the beginning to the end, to the orphanage, to all of it, to the mind games that gets played with you on disc 2 and disc 3. Like, that game is absolutely phenomenal, and the love story being woven in, like, oh my god, that's so good. Oh, that's so good. Anyways, sorry. Y'all gonna get me talking about nothing. Did you see that FF16 runs horribly on the Series X, 720p on the Series X, and 1080p higher on the PS5? Well, okay. So, Jenna, I'm not I'm not gonna say that I'm surprised, because I'm honestly not. If you'll notice, we have one topic about Xbox tonight, and it's no, it didn't even make my list. Oh shit. Well, if we have time to talk about it, we will be discussing the Xbox handheld. But like, I don't expect that damn thing to do anything. The current consoles, previous consoles, next console, next handheld, they're done. It's absolutely finished, and that's absolutely freaking wild. No, I did not know that, but it does not surprise me. It does not surprise me at all. Heck, the PS5 had a hard time running that game. If everybody remembers, that game was not very well optimized, and I don't think it still is. Like, they fixed a little bit, but Final Fantasy VII Rebirth got that love treatment, and FF16 got the go wait outside treatment. Like, that's just what happened. This FF7 Rebirth, literally the reason you should buy a PS5 Pro at launch, like, was because of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It changes the game. It changes the way it looks. It changes the way it feels. It changed everything. Oh, Josh just said the team had to move to 14 again. Oh, well, hey, you know what? More power to him, man. Like, more power to him. Speaking of more power to them, more power to y'all. Y'all can hit the like button. Y'all can subscribe. Y'all can do gifts. Y'all can sign up to be members. Y'all can do all that. So all of the power to y'all right now in this moment to do all the things and hit all the buttons and hit the things that make the dings, as this other YouTube channel says. Super cool, and I stole it. And I'm okay saying that. Hit the things that make the dings. What's up, Ryan? How are you, dude? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Mr. Grimm, I see you in here. I see you. Nelson Gaming Culture. Hey, Nintendo is the GOAT. Hey, listen. We went from seeing people bitch and gripe and fuss all day long about the price tag, right? We went from seeing people having the worst time ever, and oh my god, they're so anti this, they're anti that, they're anti this. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. I'm never buying one. Got it day one. I'm never buying one. Got a deal on it. I'm never buying one. I traded in stuff for it. I didn't pay. Like, come on. Come on. We all knew. And if you didn't, you're a moron. Like, we all knew every single person who said they weren't getting the Switch 2 was kind of full of shit. We knew it. And we knew that for every person that actually stuck to their word and said, no, I'm not getting it, we know that there were 15 more that didn't say a word and still went and bought it. Like, that's why I've said, anytime somebody's asked me, so Thrifty, you getting it? Thrifty, you getting it? Thrifty, it's $500. Are you getting it? I always tell them, not right away. Probably, well, I can't say that too loud. My oldest is still awake. But, you know, there's a thing coming around that's, you know, where we celebrate at the end of the year around December 25th. And so, you know, there might be some switchage under the tree, if you know what I mean. But like, I have to show him the video of how bad Minecraft plays on it though, because if that's the case, we might end up just getting a Steam Deck or something. It'll be cheaper, have access to more shit, or instead of buying a Switch, just get him his own PlayStation. I don't know. I don't think the wife would let that one fly. She likes the mobility of the Switch. She likes the fact that we don't have to have another TV in the house, which I kind of do too. Like I said, like I've told y'all before, we have Uno TV, and I kind of like that. Outsider Gaming Night, you didn't get a Switch too? Well, man, hey, listen, it's your money. If you wanted to get one, get one. You buy Ubisoft titles, and we still love you for it. Like, if you spend your money where you want to spend your money. That's the other thing, guys. I know I am a thrifty guy, okay? I get it. The channel is named Thrifty, which, a little weird. Probably going to change that soon, but we're going to get there. I save my money, or I budget my money for things that I want. I encourage every single one of y'all to do the same. But at the end of the day, if you still want to come in here, if you still want to be in the chat, if you still want to hang out and be a part of this awesome community, by the way, you can join the Discord. It's a link, description below. It's free. It is free to join the Discord. Just don't be a douche canoe. That's it. That's all you got to do. And then you can come over, you can join it, and we can have a blast. It's awesome. They're talking all the time on there. I talk when I can, which is usually for about 10 to 20 minutes in the morning, about 5 to 10 minutes in the afternoon, and then usually I'm on it glued to my phone throughout the weekend when I'm not out with family or doing other things. And so, yeah, join the Discord. Be a part of a great community. So, let's get back to these comments. What we got going on? Also, guys, I guess it's just going to be me slow rolling tonight. So, because of that, y'all get to have something special. Y'all get to have something we haven't had in a long time. What if That's the story of my life, Corey. That's the story of my life. So, Josh, it was actually supposed to be Jez and frogs. And I have not been... Jez actually contacted me at 7:50, and so I don't know. But you know what? We are here. But so you get to have a Thoughts with Thrifty. Yeah, we haven't done one of these in a hot minute. All right, so let's get into the topics. I really want to dive into this. Let's start talking first about kind of what makes your favorite game. A solo cast, man. We're gonna see how I do. Let me see. Let me see if I can do this. Hang on. I do play EA, Sony, Square Enix, and others. Yeesh. God. Yeah, we still like you though. You're still good. You're still cool. See? Doesn't matter. Like I said, your money. Do with it what you feel. Don't tell me how to drink my bourbon. I won't tell you where to spend your money. I'll just make suggestions. You can suggest all day long. I can also suggest you get the hell out of here. No, it's just totally kidding. Totally kidding. All right, this is going to turn into a hate cast. Just roasting y'all in the comments. Like, Corey, you got a purple C next to your name. Ooh. I don't know. Sorry. This is what happens when I'm by myself. Do you see this? Drink your bourbon through your mouth. Absolutely. You do not want to do the other option. That's not a good idea. I would not recommend it. All right, let's put something on here that's good. There we go. Or that's better. Let's go. All right. Okay, so what makes a favorite game? This thought came to me because everybody in the who was at the spoiler cast kept talking about how, man, we love hearing these conversations, we love hearing these talks, we love hearing just the passion in the gaming and all of that. And so, like I said in the intro, I wanted to go ahead and give more spotlight to games that I love, or just games that have really stood out to me, or games that I put in my top tier. And so, because of that, I do want to start tonight, and we kind of talked about it earlier, but I do want to start tonight with that discussion. So right now, in the comments, in the chat, let me know what. Oh, see, Corey Massey's already on it. 30 says, "Get out of here now." Yeah, no doubt. I can't do that, man. You've been here for like 2 years, dude. I could never kick you out, man. You're like a lamp fixture. A lot of you guys are. Like, shit, dude. Look at the names that are in here. We've added a few over time, but man, some of y'all have been with me since I didn't have a freaking name for the show. It was Thrifty's Gaming News Podcast, if anybody remembers that. And then I was on Jez's show, and I was like, oh, okay. So, we were talking, and we were like, man, this is like some playground bullcrap. And it's like, yeah, we made comments about like the tetherball and like the Foursquare and all of that. And the more I got to thinking about it after the show, I was like, dang, we should name this thing the Playground. And then as it's changed and molded and all this other stuff, we are about to do another kind of change and shift up. I'm really excited about it, and I can't wait to share more with y'all. I'm going to be working with someone pretty closely to get a new landing page, new graphic, kind of new everything, and it's just going to kind of fit my style a little bit more. And so I'm excited about that because if you don't notice, I'm not the shock jock in your face, like scream and yell at the top of my lungs. I'm not going to sit and argue with y'all in the chat. I don't do that. I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy who is going to be able to sit here for 3 hours daily and just interact with y'all on that kind of, like, that's just not me. I'm chill. I'm laid back. Someone say shift up. Yes. Rebranding like Xbox. What's up, Nick? Thrifty Burlesque House. That's right. Hey, Jenna, do you think that would get me more subs? Because I honestly think that would lead to less, if I'm just being honest with everybody here. That would probably, Lord Jesus. All right. That would probably lead to less subscribers. Okay, anyways, so let's start. So, Josh in the chat said he has too many favorite games. Somebody said Neo 2 is their favorite game, which, by the way, Neo 3? I can't freaking wait for that game. I'm seriously considering purchasing that damn thing day one and just slogging through it because the combat of the Shinobi is so good. I absolutely was floored. Y'all can go watch. My reaction to the Shinobi was 1000% genuine. If y'all would have been in my living room while I was playing that, y'all would have literally looked over to my wife and she would have given y'all no reaction whatsoever. because she's heard me act that way before when it comes to video games. It was a complete 1000%. You will sell your pants again? What? Who said anything about selling pants? I don't know what that means. Shock jock thrifty. Oh yeah, that's me. That's me. Here, let me find something to argue with. Outside, I've already picked on you, and I know you won't just bounce out of here. Yeah, so you play EA? That must mean you love microtransactions and predatory practices. My goodness, I can't even believe you call yourself a gamer. Do you see what they're doing to the gaming market and the gaming industry? And it's all your fault, and people like you for some. See, that sounds like shit. That sounds like shit. That sounds awful. Who has time to do that? That's not me. I'm super chill. I'm calm. I get riled up occasionally. And we're just going to go ahead and have a good time. I feel like I'm what Mitch Hedberg would have been if he had a gaming podcast. Like, very occasionally riled up, most of the time spaced, and sometimes on point. Like, that's just kind of too many big words in that attack. My bad. You're right, Corey. All right, let's get in. So, I understand that there's a lot of favorite games out there and a lot of things that like people look at, but that's what we're going to talk about. So when I start thinking about a favorite game, I automatically go to my Final Fantasy series because those have such complete experiences for me, and so many times that I've replayed games. Like I've beat Final Fantasy X on the PS2. I have replayed about 80% of it each time, strangely enough, on the PS3, the PS4, and now I'm working again through it on the PS5. And I'm hoping to get past 80% this time and actually push the way through after everything's opened up and you can go and start your battle with Sin and all that. But like, I've I always go back to that series and go get the plat. Nope, I'm not dodging. I'm not dodging 100 lightning strikes in a row. You can forget that. That's not happening. I will never get the platinum in that game because that entire section is annoying as hell. That entire section. Let's do a spoiler cast on X, bro. We'll do a retro review or a retro roundup or something. I don't even care. Like, we'll just open it up to the masses. Whoever wants to come and chat inside the Discord, come on. We'll put it up on the screen. People can watch it. Heck, yes. Don't tempt me. That game is absolutely my favorite. Sorry, I just saw Jenna Hayes' comment again from earlier. Just thinking of me doing burlesque makes me chuckle. Okay, so I go to these games though, and I think, and I'm like, what makes these games so special? What is it about them? And so, like, Final Fantasy, the Final Fantasy X, let's tell you what, I'll pick something different than Final Fantasy X. Let's go ahead and pick Last of Us. Last of Us, the first one, is one of my favorite games absolutely ever. It literally set the bar for the PS4. I'm sorry, for the PS3. And, hell, for most of the PS4. Because the remaster. That game was made with such care and love and attention, and it wasn't slop, and the story was good. The sound was awesome. Like, oh my goodness, I remember the sound in that game being so immersive and just sucking me in. Like, I played that game with headphones until I couldn't anymore because the clickers scared the shit out of me. But like, I literally played the game with headphones until I think I went into like the train station and I made it through the train station. And then after that, it was inside the sewer tunnel that you have to walk through. There's a bloater in there, there's some runners, and there's some freaking clickers. And I couldn't. The way the sound echoed and the way they like worked all the sound engineering, I was crawling in my skin. It was so bad. Oh, it's 200 lightning bolts. Oh, thank you, Josh. That just doubles down the fact that I am never, ever, ever getting that platinum. Was that chapter 3 when you're down in the in what looked to be the abandoned tunnel? It was flooded. You were going through the train cars, or was that number 2? I think that was 1. But like, I had to take my headphones off because the sound engineering was so creepy. And so games like that that bring you in, that don't just make you a player, that actually make you a part of it. Those things make usually it's something like that that makes the game my favorite. Something that draws me in, something that brings me in and keeps me and makes me forget that I'm even playing a game. Most recently, Expedition 33 did that. Also, funny enough, I can sit and play TMNT Splintered Fate for an hour session, 2-hour session, and not even feel like I've been there 5 minutes. I have been able to do that with Final Fantasy X as of late. I grinded on that thing for a couple hours yesterday, and I didn't even notice it whatsoever. The games suck you in. The games that pull you in. The things that we love in gaming, the music, the combat, those are what make up. Those are what I'm sorry. I'm confusing. I'm saying I'm getting my thoughts jumbled. When I say those are what make up my favorite games, you can easily go, well, no shit. Duh. Those are basic game mechanics. That makes sense that those make up your favorite games. But what I mean is I felt like the combat in Last of Us was perfectly woven into the story. It didn't feel like it was this offshoot thing. Like I said, the audio quality I've already talked about. The graphics, the visual appeal of the game was amazing. The work that they had done using the PS3 and then later on the PS4 and then even later on the PS5, the work they've done graphically with that game is absolutely astounding. And then the voice work, the emotion that was behind it. It's not doing combat. Yes, every game has combat, right? Every single game has, well, any game, let me rephrase that. Most games have combat. Great. Most games have an art style, an art direction. Great. But are those things done well? Are they done to the level of a Sea of Stars, where you can tell that care was given to that game? Or a Last of Us, where you can tell that care was given to the details and the foliage and the facial features and the way the lighting worked? Or, and this is not to hate on them, but do we get a game like Redfall? Do we get a game where care and attention wasn't paid to the graphics or to the character models? Or hell, do we get a game like Concord, where the one thing that everybody hates is the character models and the art direction? Like, those type of things going into these games are what can help draw us in. Playability is also a big thing. Is the game actually fun to play? And so Mr. Grimm just said, yo, Space Marine 2 Ultimate Edition is 40% off. Should I pull the trigger? I would say so. But then again, it's your money, not mine, and I haven't even purchased the game yet. So, probably not a good person to tell you what to do with that. What's up, Harlan PS Gamer? So, I tried dodging 100, Chapter 3, the Chocobo. If you can do the Chocobo Trainer, you can dodge 200. EA's microtransactions are in the Ultimate Team, okay. Why not, Mr. Grimm? Okay. So, back to favorite games. Y'all have talked about y'all's, but like, those things in gaming, the games that pull us in, there's stuff that doesn't happen often anymore. And it's crazy. We get like 1 to 2, maybe 3 every generation. At least for me. I don't get favorite games or top list A tier games all year round. I Josh, like you said earlier in the chat, like you were like, yeah, man, I have too many favorites. Me, I'm like, nah. Last year, I can tell you my favorites: Stellar Blade, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Astrobot. All three great games. All three games that I immersed myself in. All three games that pulled me in and wouldn't let me go. Also, another thing that makes a great game is being able to come back and play that game when you don't really have anything else going on, right? Like it's that holy shit, we got Jez in the house. What's up,
Yo,
Jez?
what's up, man? So sorry, my headset wasn't working.
I thought you fell asleep, dude. I was like, bro had a long day. He lives over there
No,
on the East Coast.
I've been trying to set up my the base dock must have got unplugged, and I thought it was my headset, and I have the Astros, and I was trying to figure out like with all the wires and stuff why the dock wasn't working. And I was like, and I'm like, what's going on? And it's just, oh yeah, and I thought the headset was dead, and then. Meanwhile, it was just I wound up was straightening up the grindhouse down the basement, and I must have unplugged it. And dude, it was just like I had a like network of cables. It was like one of the server rooms, tracing where the plug was. I'm like, did I unplug this thing?
Hey, just think, you won't
This is
need a
great.
plug anymore because everything's going handheld.
Oh crap, yo, man.
So real
Yeah,
quick,
I know. There's just
real
craziness
quick,
going on.
we're talking about like favorite games, okay?
Sure.
What is like when you think back, everybody has their favorites, right? When you think back to your favorite games, what is the one, like, do they have a common thread? Like for me, it's usually story and then music and then like the combat, right? And any of those could be on a scale, but like usually 2 out of 3 are a 10 out of 10, right? Like you'll have great combat, an amazing story. Maybe the graphics are a little fugly. You'll have beautiful graphics, you'll have great sound quality, but maybe the story's a little lacking or the gameplay is awesome, right? And so
Yeah.
when you think about a favorite game, like first of all, I want to know what game comes to mind. Like when I sent you that earlier, what game comes to mind when I say, "Hey Jez, what's a favorite game of yours?"
All right. Yeah, like it. So one of my it changed. Like the thing is like my favorite games sort of changed as I got older. Like when I was younger, my favorite game was obviously I loved Super Mario World. Like and Super Mario Bros. 3.
Okay.
Like just the platforming and everything with that, and just the characters, the colors, and just the abilities. But my main thing with all games is and then I got into multiplayer, and I wanted this, and I'm always about interaction with environments and physics, like physics as like Havoc and all those kind of ragdoll physics. I was always big on that stuff as I went through games, especially multiplayer games. Like that will tell me the quality of a multiplayer game if it had like ragdoll and any kind of physics and stuff like that. But when I then but the main stuff that I really like, the multiplayer is just sort of like, that's kind of my go-to stuff. It was just like basically Halo, but really what started from Halo was the N64. I loved multiplayer. I love multi-tap, like plugging in 4 controllers and everybody just playing Mario Tennis, Mario Golf. Like I was a big kind of party gamer. I love just like having people over and just hosting gaming parties, rock band parties. So I was always like a social gamer in the sense. And I kind of stayed with that. And so really like narrative stories and things like that, I would do the campaigns to kind of get love the campaign and story and stuff, but really it was just a kind of a side thing to the multiplayer, which that's where the party's happening, that's where we'll go. So that's kind of like my favorite, like growing up, was like this multiplayer game, shooters, multiplayer, just party games, and just having a blast. But like wrestling, GoldenEye, all those N64 things, like Mario Tennis, Mario Golf, Smash Brothers, that's it. Because I was a big Nintendo person.
You sound also like you were a big multiplayer person.
Yes, I was. Yeah,
Okay.
I was. Yeah, because N64 was the thing in college for me. That's like we would do that. So all those games when Nintendo started. That's why I never brought my PlayStation up to the college, because I lived in a quad, so like in the dorms, and everybody just wanted to just came in, drink, and play games. It was always a social party there. But then like and very competitive too. Like we'll play all the sports games, and we'll kind of like have tournaments and all that other stuff. So, but PlayStation, I played a lot of Final Fantasy VII was my favorite game before I got into the multiplayer stuff, because this was before multiplayer stuff we were doing that. And Final Fantasy VII, I remember that was the kind of game that when I stopped playing it, it was something that I kept thinking about. And that's how I know it's a great game, when I think about it, think about the characters, think about the story as I go through it. But that was one of my top games. I really, that was my favorite growing up, like that and Resident Evil. Resident Evil stood out, the first one. That was another one where I was basically like telling like my family at the dinner table like the story, and and I remember the shock that I had when I read one of the diaries about one of the researchers and how they turned into the zombies, because I wasn't, I was like, oh my god, so we're fighting the researchers. Like, you gotta think, like, back then, zombies and all the other stuff, like then now we know the nature of zombies, like you bite them, you get converted. But back then, just reading that and realizing that this was a research center and all the people in lab coats are from, those are the researchers. And that was something that really stood out. But Resident Evil and Final Fantasy were like my classics before I got to college, when I played, and Resident Evil 2. Those are my favorite ones. And then GameCube stuff, again, it changed. Like, I liked Eternal Darkness. That was one of my favorite GameCube games. Horror, again, I'm horror, multiplayer, that stuff. And it wasn't until I got my PlayStation 4 that, and the PlayStation 3, God of War 3, that was a huge one. And Uncharted 2, obviously. That's what pulled me in. And when I played Uncharted, that's when I got into the whole, that Sony recipe, that PlayStation recipe. And that's kind of where now I look, those are the games now that I like to play. Like, the multiplayer stuff I get into, but my multiplayer crew, like, it just kind of broke up. I play it here and there, like jump into Fortnite, but it's not like what it used to be back in the Call of Duty days and 360 days and all that other stuff. It's, I'll do it. I play it, but now I'm more into these interactive movies and just stories and characters and that. I'm playing through Last of Us again. Like, and that's I know it's funny, Thrifty, that when you asked me that question, it's so crazy that I'm gonna tell you, once I finish a game, I'm like done with it. I'm like, yep, trade it in. I was a trade-in fiend. I would be like, I'll beat it and just get rid of it so I can get a new game.
Not Final Fantasy.
There you go. It was so funny because my friends would make fun of me because I would always buy the latest game, and they'd be like, how do you do? Like, I'm like, they would just get Call of Duty and that was all they get. But I'll like, the new game coming out, play it, and I'll have to convince them to go get it and say, yo, this game's good, we should play it. But I was always getting the new game, and I never went back really and played games. And I wouldn't believe, like, and now I went back, I did Spider-Man again, I was doing Last of Us again, I did Uncharted again, like Uncharted 4, and then I'm just like, I don't know, I just never went back and played games, and now I'm going back and just experiencing them again.
Well, and because right now, what really brought this up was right now, I am in a, like, not a gaming drought, I am in a gaming break, is what I call it, where, like, I don't have the next big title for me coming out until August. And so, like, or the next game, the next new release that I'm looking forward to, I don't think it comes out until August or September. And so, like, I have time to just game on my backlog. And I was looking at my backlog, and I was like, all right, cool, there's this game. But you mentioned a lot of them. Like, I played a couple hours in Spider-Man. I played a couple hours in Spider-Man
I did
2.
a bunch of side missions in like and I did side missions in like the Spider-Man New Game Plus. Like, and the other thing too is with these games, like even even Death Stranding. Like, I don't just plow through the game and just kind of beat it. I milk it. Like, I play a chapter or two, and I'm like, okay, that's a great stopping point, and I stop and I go do something else. And I know some people may go, that is nutso. Like,
that's how it was with
that's
E33.
But what I want to do is I want to savor the story. Like I didn't beat Death Stranding until a few weeks ago. Like I had it, I
Oh,
was
sick.
chipping away at it. And now the sequel's out. That got me motivated to say, okay, wrap it up. But like I would just do a few missions and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's great. However, if there's something that pulls me in, I might just continue playing it. But a lot of times I'm like, this is a good stopping point. I did it with Horizon. I did it with with all the Sony games. Like I kind of just savor their campaigns and just you know play it and know that I got like, oh yeah, I got Last of Us. I gotta get back to that, and I'll just jump back in and I'll just start playing. So like that's what I do. Like I can't, and it gets me sometimes triggered. Like when I go online and I just see people like the game comes out and they're like Death Stranding will come out and like the next day, but yeah, campaign's done, 12 hours, 15 hours done. I'm gonna go back now and do side missions and I'm just like, fuck, man, like really, like you just blast through it. But people do that. I'm not like that.
Dude,
I
that's what
savor
happened
my
with
games.
that's what happened with Expedition 33. Like I was seeing folks like, man, I got it done in 15 hours. But what
Yeah, that
what
too.
did
Like
you
that's another
do?
game.
What did you do? Did
I
you
can't,
did
man.
nothing. You did absolutely nothing. It's like
Yeah.
you went to the red
See,
mark on the map, completed that area, and moved on. And like you got nothing else. So like, but hey,
I
listen,
know.
just like earlier, I'd said, but this was before you got here. If that's the way they want to spend their money and their time on gaming, F it.
Yeah,
I
that's how
just
people are.
I
Yeah.
just can't. Like I'm like you, man. I want to savor that shit. I want it to be like okay. And I think some of that comes and it makes sense also for you, but some of it comes from my like love of JRPGs. Like those games
Mm.
forced you to savor everything because you'd have a story moment and then you would go out and you would do all your combats, your battles, your levels. You would go find new
Oh,
items. You would go explore the map. You would go all over everywhere.
yeah.
And
Oh my
then
God.
you'd get another little bit of story. And then you would
Yep.
go do the same thing. You'd go
That's right. You play
explore.
to the cutscene. You
You
play to
play to
like
the
the
cutscene.
next story level. That's
Yes.
and now they remind me one of my favorite games, and this was one of my first RPGs that I got hooked on was Final Fantasy 3 for the Super Nintendo.
Oh,
Kefka
which was
was it
actually
Kefka?
six. Heck yeah.
Which is sick, yeah, dude. It was crazy. I remember this, and these are the memories I have. Like I was must have been 10, 11, I was 12 or something like that, and I got stuck. And I remember that I had I forgot his name. It wasn't Sable. Was it Sable who had the Blitz? Was it or something? He saw with an S. Was it Sable or he had a Blitz and his attack was a Blitz.
Oh, the guy
Um,
who suplexed. That was
yeah, the guy suplex. Yeah, with the he looked like Guile. He
Saban.
had the red hair, the blonde hair. Yeah, it was somebody with an
Saban.
S.
Saban.
Saban. There
It's
it goes. Saban.
Saban. Whether that's Saban or
Sab.
Saban.
That's him. Yes. So like, I remember like I played the game and I got stuck at one of the bosses. Like not even like about a couple hours in, and I had that character, and my friend came over, my cousin came over, and he helped me beat the one of those bosses, and from there, hooked. And he left, and I just played the rest to the end with Kefka, the chocobos, and with
Oh shit.
the Mongols,
So
the
how far do I
Mongols, the
have then?
moguls.
I am. They either just opened the gate to the Esper world, or they're just about to open the gate to the Esper
Oh,
world.
that's like the second. That's like the last third, if I remember the game.
Last
Like
third. That's what I
where,
thought. Okay.
yeah, because I remember that's what was so incredible about that game. Like it built up to like, holy crap, they opened up the world, and you're just like, yo, I never. Like you would never think that would happen in a game. You'll think, like, oh, we're gonna stop them right before that, and that's where that
Mhm.
hooked me because it was like, oh crap, he did what he needed to do to open
Yes.
up that world. Wow, like what happens now? Because you're always used to those happy endings where the evil guy just wants to just do something and you stop him right before you do it.
And it all
And in
worked.
that
And all,
game,
yes.
yeah, and that game it hooked me because I was like, holy crap, like he did it. Now what happens? And now you gotta play to the end. And then he just goes into like I remember the boss fight. Oh my god, that boss fight. He was like 5 levels. You had to go up the body, like all the way to the top of the tower. He's like on the top of a tower or something like that. Oh
and,
man,
and
that's
that's the
what a game.
so like I'm literally I guess I'm on the back third then. of
Probably.
that
Hey,
game.
you're
And,
talking about somebody 20 years old.
oh,
20
sorry.
years ago. I have not
20 years
played it
ago.
till then, dude. I have not played years ago. I haven't played that
So
thing
that
so
game was
long.
a weird. So the way it starts, right? You get your party, you start doing stuff, and then Tara just goes bye bye. She leaves,
Hmm.
flies off, gone, and then she becomes a quest. Like she goes
Yep.
from party member to quest, and when she does that, I'm sitting there. I'm now playing as Locke. I'm finding Shadow. I'm getting these other pieces, and everything's coming together. Everything's going great. And then I'm
Yep.
like, all right, where the hell, when is Tara coming back? And right then there will be a little cutscene over to her. You're like, all right, cool. And then like the game slow fed you so much. And so like I think that's why, wrapping this all back around, I think that's why I take so long when I play RPGs. Because like God of War took me 80 hours. Yeah, I'm sorry, Ragnarok took me 80 hours.
Wow.
No, no, the
That's
first
long.
one. Ragnarok took me 50 or 60.
Yeah, I'm
And
around 42 hours on that.
so, like, okay, I literally took my time with that game. I loved it. I loved the scenery. I loved the combat. I loved every freaking thing about it. I loved the second one so much. I felt like what they did with Atreus and
It was
Dadgummit,
good.
whatever her name was in the giant realm, I absolutely loved that. I loved that she was trying to save, like, the giants, and that was a whole freaking storyline. Like, I loved the whole thing. I loved seeing the turn of Freya in between the first game and the second game. Like, I felt like they did so much work on the characters that I just enjoyed every single. It is. I think it was the
Hmm.
first platinum I ever got, and
Wow.
I couldn't put the stupid thing down. I loved it, but
They did such a good job with that because it was like, one of the first times that Kratos had a crew. Like he's always been his own thing. He had his son in
yes,
the second one, but he had Mamiya in like the 2018. But this was the first time where he had like a posse. Like he had a headquarters and he had like other people. And I think the major part of that story was that he was like he had trust in other people. Like he had his circle, and that was something that's very unique. That character never had that before.
it,
He like
I never thought about that. That's a whole new depth.
he had a family in that
Yes,
second one.
that's a whole new level of depth that I didn't even realize. Like, that's really cool. I like that. But you're
Yeah,
right, because he was always the loner. He was
he was
literally
alone.
always the loner. Everything was
Even in the first game, he was just his son. Like he was just like his son, and
friends.
his buddy.
Shut up,
Yeah, it was
Josh.
like God of the crew. Like he had a crew, man. Like it was crazy.
God of
So
the
like
crew. I like it.
yeah. He was just so
Oh,
that's why I thought it was such a different level to his character that he really didn't have ever in the other one. Such a good job,
Brock. I can't talk about Brock.
Brock.
That's a. I can't talk about that statement, Corey, because Corey put in the chat R.I.P. Brock. I can't talk about that because talking about that actually gives up some pretty hellacious plot points. So I can't even comment on that. But you're wrong for that comment. I just want you to know that. Nate, what is up, dude? Are you here?
Yeah, what's going on, man?
Oh,
Yeah, that man.
not much. Let me get this fixed real quick. I still have you turned down from the last podcast, so
Gotcha.
I gotta fix that. Oh yeah. All right, you should
Yeah,
be a
I'm
lot
on a
better.
different mic. I'm on a different
Oh,
mic right now, so
yeah, I got you. You're back up. You are back up and golden. All right. So we're talking about favorite games, right? Our conversation at the spoiler cast kind of sparked me to go in a heavier gaming direction, uh, and throw some news topics in there later for just funs and shits and giggles, and to keep up with the industry because I do like doing that. So, what do you consider one of your favorite games, Nate?
I mean, anybody that knows me knows that Xenogears is my favorite game of all time. So
Okay, why? Because I've heard you say that before. What's up, Stephen Leon? I heard you say that before.
I mean, to be honest, I mean, there's just nothing that has ever created that combination of things for me in another game. Um, I mean, I've always been a big fan of mechs, um, which this game has. They're called Omni-Gears in this game. So, and they're not just something to fight with. They have like a whole purpose and a whole nother meaning, and a lot that goes on with the world and how they use them in daily life and a bunch of other stuff. Pretty much the same way we use, you know, cars or vehicles and other things. But it's the first time where Square went so deep with a lore, character development, and world building, and incredible music. It just had all the parts that I talked about that make up an incredible RPG, and very rarely does anyone go that deep or has been that profound for me. In a very, very long time, if ever, right? Like even my second favorite RPG, while I like it and I think it does a lot of those things really well, which is Suikoden 2, it's not nearly uh, as deep on all those levels. I mean, they crafted an entire religion for this game. Um, within the world, and there's multiple religions actually, and there's a whole thing going against that. So there's actually a reason, while we joke about, you fight God at the end of JRPGs and so on and so forth. There's an actual reason for that in this game. Like it's not just like, oh well, it's the end of an RPG so you fight God. Like no, like there's a whole religion, there's a reincarnation, there's another side to the actual protagonist himself. Like the layers upon layers upon layers that this game has is just unlike anything else that's ever been created, and I've never experienced another game quite like it. So yeah, I mean, also, I'm a big fan of the combat system. They have a death blow, what they call a death blow system, which is like a combo system, but when you press a certain type of combo, it initiates what they call a death blow, and skills vary between each of the different characters. So you have the death blows on the ground, and then even the mechs have death blows. So your fighting style in your mech is also, reminiscent of your fighting style when you are in human form, as well. So then the other thing that it does really well that I'm a really big fan of is, I mean, anime does this too, but like really, this is like a JRPG thing. JRPGs hit what I call the turning point, where something really drastic happens and a character either like levels up or changes into something, or basically like
Or
going
dies.
ultra instinct. Yeah, or I mean, yeah, there's
Oh, you mean on the
dying,
power
but
level? Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
but I mean the
I thought
power
you meant just
level.
like
Yeah,
something
like
affecting the story changing or turning. My
yeah,
bad.
not a twist like that, but like a level up. Like, all right, we hit the next level. Like this thing we've been chasing, this level of attainment we've been looking for, and I mean they do that on yeah they do that on multiple levels, for a bunch of different characters. But one of the coolest parts is the doctor who takes care of you in the beginning, who was watching over the protagonist. Turns out he's like one of the most dangerous people that ever lived, which is ironic that he's a doctor. And you find out later that he actually swore to his wife that he would never pick up the sword again. Because, like, when he picks up the sword, apparently this man could give, like, Rurouni Kenshin a problem. Like, he is,
Kind of like a
like, one of the
John Wick type
deadliest
thing.
people.
Like, I promised his wife, I'm
Yeah.
not going to do this anymore. I'm out. Like,
Yeah, basically, yeah, I'm out. And when they get ready to go back to like where he's from, this place that's incredibly hidden, it's away from the world. It's basically the Illuminati. When they get ready to go to this place, the place in the sky that you don't talk about, he is like, hey, he goes to talk to his wife and he's like, hey, I know I said I'd never use it again, but I wanted to get your permission to see if it was okay. And of course she's like, yeah, because like I know you got to go do what you got to do, and well, I don't want you to die, and I think that you would die basically without it. So she allows him to use the sword, and from then on the character changes for the rest of the game. So his entire move set for both him and his gear changes entirely, and his gear also gets a sword. like it's completely different. Like it goes crazy. Like when he executes skills now, it looks like some ancient like Japanese martial arts film, and like it starts raining cherry blossoms on the screen, and there's the Japanese writing and kanji everywhere. Like it's dope. So there's a lot of levels to it and reasons why it's my favorite. But honestly, like I said, it just does every single thing you could possibly think of to the highest degree. A lot like one of the most recent games we talked about.
I was about to
Uh,
ask. I was like, all your praises sound a lot like what we were talking about on Friday. Like a lot of them. Like
yeah, and
it's
that game is up there, man. I'm still not sure where I will place it, and
I'm
if it
not
will
sure if I
push
want to go
something out
play
of
it
my
again.
top
Like
10.
I
But yeah,
almost just want to pick it back up and just start it over and just be like, I want to do it again. Like, I'm just gonna go do it
yeah.
again. It's so.
I
It is the
mean,
first game
I
I have
want to.
ever. I have listened to soundtracks before from other games because obviously,
Hmm.
like, I love Final Fantasy. I love Final Fantasy VIII. I think Ultimisia, her sound or her like her entrance and the fight music for her is absolutely freaking epic. But like I never purchase soundtracks from video games because I've always seen them as too expensive. They're usually 40
Yeah.
to $80, and I just don't like that. And so, and I understand you're getting a ton of it's a me thing, not anything else. But
Oh yeah, yeah. We had that
I'm
whole conversation in your chat the other day about how expensive they are.
yeah, they're like, and so this one, $40, and for the spoiler cast, my music was jacked up on the Streamlabs side of it, so I was like, F it. And I bought 4 songs after looking up uh, the art or the composer and how he's like, no, I don't care who uses my stuff. Everybody can use it. I love it. Use it for whatever you want. Just don't try to like resell it. Like don't give it to people to resell. I was like, okay, fantastic. Like no
So
big
that should
deal.
be the rule in general
Right.
for video game music.
Don't be a douche canoe. Cool.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. And so I actually bought 4 songs for that night, and I am like I'm buying the rest of the soundtrack like tomorrow. Because I'm listening to the same 4 tracks at work
Yeah.
while I'm working. I can't stop. I sing them when I'm driving home. I hum them throughout the house. Like my kids have started humming Lumiere throughout the throughout the
Mhm.
house.
But you see what you're talking about though? It's kind of the conversation that we had in chat, right?
Yeah.
Where I told them, I was like, there's good soundtracks, right? But ones that you don't really remember, right? And I always get people with this because I'm like, gun to your head. If I play a song from that thing that you said was one of your favorite soundtracks, can you tell me what the song is from, right? And I was like, it's not that the soundtracks are bad, mind you, right? There are what I told them and what I explained is I was like Skyrim, right? Skyrim, everybody knows Skyrim has a good soundtrack, right? But I was like, besides the theme song, gun to your head, if I played one of them that wasn't the theme song, can you actually remember them? Like, do they trigger something in you? And I was like, I that's what I was saying. It's not that they're not good. Like people, that's what we were trying. Imagine trying to convey this in chat. But I was like, it's not that the soundtracks are not good. What I was telling them was there's a difference between a good, background or orchestral or like a movie soundtrack, and then there's those ones that you never forget, right? Like if you play something random from the Xenogears soundtrack, I could not only tell you the song, I could tell you where it is in the game, like where the location, like oh that's the first desert town you come to. I could tell you how the city. I could tell you where you if you walk down the street, like where you would go. Where you're supposed to go when you first walk in the city. What happens? Like it triggers that much of a memory for me because each of them are so unique to each town. Like, matter of fact, Morgan was laughing the other night because she was on the phone with me, and I was playing Suikoden. And as I was transitioning, because I was running around doing a quest, And she was like, what is going on with this music? And she hears like the world map, and then she hears me inside of my castle, like my base, and then she heard me back at the Cobalt Village, and she's like, why are all the oh man, he's really playing that flute. And I'm like, but again,
Oh damn, the
the
flute.
PS1 era did a lot of really, really distinct um distinct music where it's like, hey, this town sounds like this. Like you can tell me, I know you can tell me certain parts of the game from the original Final Fantasy VII, depending on where I am, you could tell me the music. I know you could,
So funny you
because you
mentioned that.
like that game that much.
So funny you mentioned that. We were actually so Magic the Gathering and Final Fantasy did a kind of a merge, right?
Hmm.
And there's a Final Fantasy set now within Magic the Gathering. And so I did a draft over the weekend, or I'm sorry, on Monday night at my buddy's house. And one of our friends, big Final Fantasy fan also, put together
Hmm.
songs from throughout the 16 games of Final Fantasy, all those mainline entries. And I cannot tell you how many times the song came on, and like I was like, man, what the fuck is this from? And they're like, oh, that's from 13, that's from Lightning Returns, and I was like, oh, that's why. I never played that. I've never played the whole game. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I never got into it. Or something they'll be like, oh, what is that? And they're like, oh, that's Final Fantasy 4. I'm like, oh, that's sick. Okay, cool. And then there would be another one come on, and they're like, what the hell is that from? I was like, that's Rabanastra. That's when you're
See,
inside the
see.
castle. That's when you're like, or, and then there were some that I was like, that sounds like Seven. It's
Hmm.
it sounds a bit like it. And they're like, it was like, because a lot of the combat theme songs are the same or samey after Seven, and so at least from like 7 and 8, like the victory theme song
Yeah.
has like carried, and so
Well, yeah, and it changes slightly per like depending on where you are. Like the
very slightly.
yeah, that it's slightly different in each one. So yeah, you're
But
right.
like it was so you brought that up. It was real crazy because we were all sitting around the table, and there were certain times where somebody would play like the Kefka card right when Final Fantasy VI music was playing. And it was like, oh, this is him poisoning the well. This is at the very beginning, and blah 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 blah. And then somebody who knows nothing about it was like, wait, they do that crap at the beginning of the game? Yeah, bro. Like that's how you start Final Fantasy VI. Is like girl flies off, Kefka poisons well, shit happens. Like everything pops off. And but like it's it's very rare that a game gets me to spend money outside of the game on other things, right? Collector's editions, huge of the Venom statues, like the 13 inches of Black Venom. Like I don't do that. Like that's just never been me. I did it for Final Fantasy 16. I got the Steelbook edition with the map, blah blah blah. It like, but that's it. And so for a game like that to be able to get me to open my wallet again for something that has literally nothing to do with gameplay, like it's absolutely wild. But it's really a good conversation to start thinking about these and like what games make up our favorites and why, because there's such a everybody's at a different stage in life here, right? Like I'm married with 2 kids. I got a 60, 70 hour a week job sometimes. Gaming time is limited. But that wasn't always the case, right? And I talk to older guys all the time who are gamers, and they're like, "Yeah, man, but once the kids get a little older, you'll be gaming all the time again." And so like we go through these cycles, and it's always nice to talk and dive into that history that all of us have. Like, and if you notice, all of our favorite games, at least on the panel here, most of them weren't made within the last 15 years or 10 years, right? Like
Yeah.
Last of Us 2 or Last of Us is the closest we got. And that was PS3. So it's very interesting when you start thinking about why that is. Like why is it that there's these games that don't even scratch the surface of a top 10, and at least for you know what I mean. And so like we'll be discussing this further on more podcasts coming up, because I think this is a really good topic to make sure we keep gaming the important thing on a gaming podcast. It's fucking wild. I know.
Well, I really like Last of Us on like I said, like recently, like a lot of the PlayStation games have really been hitting, like Uncharted, the Last of Us, the God of War. Like I really I like the character development and stuff. Like I really think that Last of Us Part Two was like, I know a lot of people, there's a lot of controversy with it, but I loved how they told the story on it. I thought it was a very powerful story that they did.
It was. You talking about Last of Us?
Yeah, Part 2. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
well,
yeah, I know a lot of people don't
yeah. Well,
think of it. I think of it as like, dude. Well, and I was gonna say is like they made it that you got it from both perspectives, and you saw that just the vengeance made them lose everything because they just had so much greed, there's so much hate for everything, man. They at the end they were both like nothing. They lost everything because their vengeance just took over. And that's that happened. That's how I felt.
I agree. I agree that the story is good and the content is good. I disagree with the way they told it. But that's it. Like,
yeah.
I like the story beats, but everybody here knows that.
No, everybody thinks that. I just think that it was very it was a very complex story, and they took a lot of risks in the sense of like doing what they did, and I just felt that the way at the end I was just like, wow, it was really very powerful, like in the sense of it.
So
yeah. So you just didn't like Abby, or you didn't like the whole?
No, I thought Abby was great. I thought her combat was amazing. I hated the order in which they told the story.
Yeah, I know.
But threw the pacing off for me is what it was.
Oh, yeah. Like they did going the flashbacks and then going back into the thing, and it's like her birthday party.
And all they had to do was take the fucking flashbacks and put them at the beginning of the game in a linear fashion, and then kill Joel halfway through the game instead of 2 hours in. You've now had this whole section built up between him and Ellie and the fallout from what happened at the hospital with Abby and her father, and like you build up all of this tension and they make you fall in love with both of these, the father and son combo, and Ellie and Ellie and Joel. They make you fall in love with Abby as this character that just lost her dad and is having to pick up her whole life and try to continue on. Like they make you fall in love with them, and then you rip Joel out of our hands, and then you destroy it, and then you turn it into the vengeance, and then you get your duality of who do I side with? I love them both. This sucks for both.
We're not supposed to side. That's the whole point. Like there was no good or bad. That was the whole point of the whole thing. It was like they were both bad. Like there was no good guys and bad guys in the whole thing.
But instead of me hating both of them, I would have chosen from the other side of this is hard because I love both of them. I have a connection to both of them.
Well, that was the reason why everybody got so mad about Joel dying, because everybody they liked him, but meanwhile he was bad. He was evil. Like he did a lot of bad things. But
you think Joel was evil?
Yeah.
The worst thing he did was lie to Ellie. Like, but wouldn't you try to?
No, but he was bad. He was like he lost a lot. Like obviously, like he'd done a lot of crazy shit. Like why when he first got Ellie, he called her cargo. Like he didn't have any affection to her. He didn't give a shit. He just wanted guns, and he's like, I'll transfer the cargo. What happened was that he realized that he had humanity built back into him that he thought he lost when he lost his daughter and the whole end of the world. Like he was done. He was like the Walking Dead. He was just doing things and just being a shithead. And Ellie taught him, and not even like Ellie was loving or anything, but him made a connection with her, showed that there's still some humanity left, and he could still like care again like he used to for his daughter, and that's why he did what he did. But the thing is that that have repercussions, and that's what happened in the second one. And I agree, like the flashbacks and stuff, everybody was waiting for the pay. Everybody was waiting for like when she finds out that he lied to her and what's gonna happen. And it really wasn't the centric part of the second story. It really wasn't. It was just sort of like no, exactly. Everybody was just waiting like, oh man, they're going to start Ellie's me like, wait till she finds out, and the payoff really, it was in a flashback, and it was sort of like somewhere in the middle of the game, and I was just like, oh, like the payoff wasn't there because that's what they left on the cliffhanger. But yeah, I agree. Some of the stuff I could see, definitely perspective. But I just did a lot of the stories I did, like, the recent games and things like that. I do like, what was the other one? There's a lot of games that I like, but when you said, like, what was your classic, like, I go back to, like, things that lasted with me for 20, 30 years that I just remember key gaming moments. Like, that's where I go today. I don't think about the last 5 years because I'm like,
They haven't earned their stripes yet, right? Like,
I'll talk about that 10 years from now.
Warawana gave a $2 super chat, and it says, if you don't love new games, you're playing the wrong games. And it's not that, I don't think it's that we don't love new games. I think that those new games haven't earned their stripes yet. Like, I haven't gone back to, like, replay Stellar Blade all the way through. I haven't gone back to replay Final Fantasy VII Rebirth all the way through, or even God of War Ragnarok. Like, but I have gone back to play Final Fantasy X all the way through. I have gone back to play Final Fantasy VII and 8 all the way through. I have gone back to play God of War 2018.
You're not waiting for that remaster?
Like, you know what I mean?
8
like,
remaster?
there's so many games that stand the test of time, and I think that's another thing that makes a game a top game for me. Right? Like, can I go back to it? Can I do what you were talking about earlier of can I just pick up Spider-Man and just swing around freaking New York and enjoy my 2 hours of gaming that I get, or my hour, and just have a fucking amazing time? Yes, I can. And I love that. But so we've talked a lot about gaming. We talked a lot about our favorite games, different types of franchises, things like that. Let's get into some of the I don't know. Shit. Summer Games Fest, it happened. It was a fart in the wind. It was a crappy show. It was the worst show that I've seen from Summer Games Fest. And I don't even want to talk about it. Sony Bend Studios took a hit. Let's do that one.
Resident Evil was in it. Resident Evil 9.
Oh, sure. I'm not saying they didn't have
Fest.
anything. Like, I have the whole list. You got Mortal Shell. They showed Death Stranding again. Yeah, Sonic Crossworlds, Code Vein 2, that's kind of cool. That's kind of neat. That had me a little interested because I played a little bit of Code Vein 1. The Marvel Cosmic Invasion looked like shit. Actually, it looked really fun. I mean, it wasn't that big. It wasn't that big. Oh my God, it's coming. It wasn't it. And, like, it's cool, but it was blah. And then they re-showed Onimusha, The Way of the Sword.
Yeah, that's kind of next year, yeah.
No, that's next year. They got Dune Awakening that looked okay. Mafia the Old Country we already knew about. Lies of P DLC. Like, there's a lot on here that I'm just scrolling down through, and, like, Dying Light the Beast got a new trailer. But, like, where's the new stuff? Where's the stuff that I didn't know about? Like, that.
Oh, you don't get that anymore. And he made a big push for indies too. Like, he's I don't know. I don't think he needs the whole holy shit is below. I don't think he needs that show. Like, but the stage and all that other stuff. But
yeah, like, you got some Wu-Tang, you got some Wu-Tang. So...
Yo, did you hear that Wu-Tang thing? Like, that was an Xbox game. That was Project Dragon or something like that. And Microsoft decided not to go ahead with it, and somebody else is publishing it. It was an Xbox game. It was an Xbox game. Yeah, but no, somebody has it now. That Wu-Tang game.
Okay, so
somebody else had it. It was an Xbox game that they said they don't want to do it. Yeah.
Let's see, Wu-Tang Rise of the Deceiver.
No, not Wu-Chang. Wu-Tang. The Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tang, yeah. Wu-Tang Clan, The Rise of the Deceiver is what the name of the game is.
Oh, rip my head off.
30 Ghostface Killer, Afro Tang. Oh, it comes out to PC via Steam, Epic Game Store. Hey, so you'll be able to play that on your Ally X, Ally Box X, ROG box thing. Box is in the title, guys.
It's so funny you said that because I was replying to a post about that. Everybody, like, the whole marketing joke, about this is an Xbox.
Yo.
And I was replying to Nib because he was, you know how Nib writes, Nib writes a dissertation for every post on Twitter, but he was saying, well, like PlayStation fans can't call the PlayStation an Xbox or whatever, and then not say that the other thing is not an Xbox. And I was like, well, the reality is none of it's an Xbox. It's a marketing meme and a joke. It's
Yeah.
not really that, because none of us are oblivious to the work it takes to put these games on other devices. I cannot go to the store, purchase a Series X game, come home and pop it in my PlayStation. It does not actually play Xbox games. That is a lie. The PC,
Neither does the
my PC,
PC.
yeah, exactly. My PC does not play an Xbox game. I'll tell you what happened the one time they tried that. They accidentally left the coding when they updated the game. They updated Forza Horizon 5 for PC, and they accidentally updated it with the coding for the Xbox. You know what happened? Everybody's game ran like crap. You know why? Because they do not run the same. PCs do not have unified RAM. They do not run like that. So everybody's PC version for like a hot 2 weeks ran it like absolute trash until they fixed the PC version, because they are not interchangeable. Like we keep telling you, so no, my PC does not play an Xbox game. It plays a port of an Xbox game that is programmed for PC.
Mm.
That's it.
So funny
So I was
enough,
like, yeah.
I left that off of the topic tonight because as I was trying to gather some articles for it, every
Hmm.
single article that I was finding was because the big question that I wanted to cover tonight was about it was, can it play Xbox console games?
Yep.
And every
No.
single thing that I found said yes, it can play any game from Xbox that's available on the
This.
PC, and it can, and
So
that
the
was what
so
everybody
the
said.
answer is no. So the
So
answer
that's,
is no.
but
No.
every single, and I'm talking about every single outlet.
Oh yeah,
That's how
they keep
that's how
wording it
Yo,
that
they are
way.
they are reading our material. Yo, I'm gonna do a whole friggin' video on this shit because I cannot stand the blatant lying and deceit. And actually, the more I keep listening to watching some of the videos, they weren't allowed to ask questions about the software. This whole thing, it's a PC and it does not play all the Xbox games. And I told everybody for my show on Monday, go look at your Xbox console library, which I had 323, and go
Hmm.
open up the Xbox app and say how many games you own. And I own 30 out of 323. I lost all of them. So there's no way for me to play those games on PC. And what they wrote in the Verge article is they told
Mhm.
Tom Warren you could stream it from your console, a la like a PS Portal, or you could get it from the cloud if it's cloud enabled. And
Yeah,
that caveat
and
adds
most
a
of that's not even
$20.
up there.
No, it's not. And they've been adding like what, 30,
Gotcha.
40 games a month. And guess what? In order to access it on the cloud, that costs you Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. It's part of
Yep.
a paywall. Even if you own the game, you got to subscribe to Ultimate to access it. So that's their future of how they plan to have your library come with you. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to say everything they do is Xbox Play Anywhere because they had to. If you noticed this last show, they emphasized Play Anywhere because now that's the new quote Game Pass. Remember how they threw Game Pass on everything? Now it's
Yeah.
Xbox Play Anywhere because that means that you could play it on PC and on Xbox. They only could now probably show Xbox Play Anywhere games because that is that's the only kind of situation where your library goes with you is if it's a Play Anywhere. And I went through them on Monday, 1,000 games, dude. They have about like maybe 20 or 30 of relevance. The rest, and they have it sorted by relevance. If you go through alphabetical order, it is garbage. It is not even games I even knew existed. They're like mobile games and Windows Store mobile games and shit like that, like weird XUWP stuff. Real weird.
Yeah, that's
But they
Yeah,
are
it's-
lying out their ass.
that's the crazy thing. But it's
Yeah, it's
literally
really weird.
everybody. That's what it was weird to. Like even
They're
Well,
reading
they're
PR
reporting
packs.
it that way because it's being reported that way from
Yep.
Microsoft, and
Mhm.
they're. I mean, these are marching orders. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like they put
exactly.
this out. This is
They
how
sent
you
them out
report
there.
this.
to touch it, and they gave them they weren't allowed to capture their own photos, their own video. They got a PR package of screenshots of what Microsoft wanted them to share, and that is it. And people just got their hands on it and said, "Oh yeah, it's a handheld. Oh, it feels well." And they don't do anything. All the promises of like this overlay that's going to make your Windows go away and stuff, it was just the Xbox app enhanced. Think about the Xbox app as Steam big picture mode. That is what they're proposing.
Exactly. That is that.
When that thing launches, it's going to minimize some processes and not load like the Windows taskbar or basically File Explorer. But the thing is that we don't know when you go into desktop mode, what is that transition? And Windows, and if you watch Digital Foundry, I'm going to go over Digital Foundry's video. They basically say it like there is so much stuff they need to do. Windows and DirectX don't even function that way. So I don't think they're going to do what the Steam OS does to Linux because it's made for that. Steam OS works well with Linux, and Linux is not a very heavy system. But Windows is, and like File Explorer, Windows updates, all that stuff, they're gonna have to really just hide it in the background. And there's two problems with this thing, and that's why I had to rant on this shit again. Two problems. One, I'm gonna tell you this because I'm not gonna talk about this device, but this is their future. So just be clear. What they're doing now is beta testing what the future Xbox is going to be. Because if this Xbox experience that they're talking about, that's Xbox. That is it. That's the future. Because if it works on the handheld, that's what your console, whatever next hardware, the last one they make, or maybe Legion makes it, who knows. But it's going to be this overlay. This is what Xbox is. So this is very important for them. But the problem is that it's not going to satisfy the PC gamer because the PC gamer doesn't want to have files hidden away. That's why they never went to the Windows Store, because all the game files were locked behind Xbox hidden folders and you couldn't access them. That's why mods don't have there. Steam, your folders are there. So the PC gamer, the tinkerer, the one who wants full access, they're not going to like the restrictions of an Xbox overlay to play games. They're going to want to go in and tinker, and they're going to want to go in and access the mods, the files. They're not going to want to be locked away like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. Secondly, the Xbox console player is, first of all, not going to have their library come with them, so they're already losing they're only getting 10% of their library to go with them, and they can't play Xbox games, and then they're going to get experience where they're going to have to tinker. Because when you boot up a game, is Microsoft going to mandate that every game just kind of like auto configures itself? Let me tell you something as somebody who has all these little handheld devices. If you don't like tinkering, do not get a handheld PC. Because a handheld PC, you got to lower all the settings. Then you got to see frame gen. Then you got to see if the resolution is there just to get the frame rates that you need.
Oh, really?
And then when you get it, that is at 15, 25 watt TDP. Well, turn down the wattage because that is going to give you less battery life. So if you put more power into it, you're going to get less battery, maybe 3 hours. But if you put it on balance mode, now you got to reconfigure again to give you more battery life, because now your frame rates are going to go down because you're giving less power. More power to the APU, less battery life. Is this my frame rate at 60 frames? I got it at 30 watts. Well, guess what? 30 watts gives you maybe 3 hours of battery. If you want to take it down to balance mode, that gives you 15 watts. That's why the Steam Deck gives you such good battery life, because it's very efficient at lower TDP, at lower wattage. And it's optimized for that. And the games are tested and optimized. Windows and Microsoft.
Steam Deck verified.
Steam Deck verified. So it is a lot of tinkering, because they're making like you boot up and you just load up. Yeah, your interface.
Well,
but
so
now,
funny enough, that's what it sounded like to me. And so earlier in the show, I was talking about the Switch 2. And
that's a boot up and play.
Right, but like not even that though. I was talking about the Switch 2, and I was like, I'm thinking about just instead of doing that, just maybe doing like a Steam Deck or something. But now that you say that, holy cow.
The Steam Deck is the most console-fied handheld, and Windows is trying to copy that. And
Yeah,
because it's
exactly.
Windows, they're not going to, because they had over a decade to
So
do
does Steam
this.
Deck work that way though?
Thank
Where you
you.
just boot up and it
Thank
works?
you.
Yeah. What a Steam
Somebody
Deck?
else who freaking said what I've been saying. Why are we all of a sudden trusting Microsoft to finally get
Cheating.
off their behind and do something? Like
Dude,
like I don't know why people they promised us. I have to keep bringing this up. They promised us direct storage like 10 years ago. I'm gonna explain what direct storage is really quickly. Direct storage is the thing the PlayStation does, the thing that people said, the power of the SSD was that they were lying. So, okay, so let me explain to you because I've had SSDs since it existed,
I
the
only
moment
think
they
of
existed
the
for PCs.
Astrobot song SSD. Anyways, go
Well,
ahead.
yeah, but no, but that's what I'm saying. So they say, oh, they're lying. You don't need a SSD, blah blah blah. Yes, you
hmm
do. What you need it for is because and a bunch of games do this now, right? Mind you. But what PCs were using SSDs for a very long time was just loading their games faster.
yeah.
But there's a threshold, and I'll show you a video later. Trust me, I know you're like, I don't do all this PC stuff. There's a video that shows you there's a loading threshold that can't be exceeded. So even no matter how fast your SSD is, a game will not load past a certain speed regardless. So that's all they were using them for a very long time. They
So
weren't
almost like a
using them.
governor on a truck or like a limiter, where like no matter how
Yes.
much you push the pedal, it ain't gonna go faster.
Yeah, that's just max limit.
All right.
So, I mean, other things will utilize it, like, stuff like if you get into content creation like you have, right? When you're doing a video, I forgot what it's called. You're rendering a video. When you're rendering a video, that will max out the speed on like your SSD in combination with your CPU and so on and so forth, which is why depending on what type of PC you have, a lot of times when people are rendering a video, they don't really do anything else because it'll take as much as you will give it, and it will the more you give it, the more it'll use literally every drop. But games, like I said, for the long time, they weren't actually running. It's running from the SSD, but it's not running faster. You get what I'm saying? So in Ratchet and Clank, right, when they were like, hey, look, because the SSD is so fast, we could take you from this world to this world instantaneously. That was the game actually using the SSD speed in the game, not just like streaming and like full time for you to actually get an effect that ran in the game. Now, of course, um, and like I said, direct storage was promised and it was supposed to be doing that for a long time, right? It was supposed to be offered that like 10 years ago. You know when it finally happened? PC users got direct storage? When PlayStation brought Ratchet and Clank to PC because they needed it because the game has to run in a certain way where it utilizes the SSD properly in order for you to get the optimal experience. And now you see games like the last flight simulator that came out and stuff uses and even requires an SSD because they actually started utilizing direct storage now that we finally got it. But Microsoft never gives us the improvements they promise until like they are absolutely forced, or in this case, like he was saying, the Steam OS wiped the floor with them in performance. So now all of a sudden, but mind you, we have been promised a more optimized version of PC for PC gaming, or Windows for PC gaming for so long. They have
Yeah.
been promising us this we're gonna optimize it. PC gaming is gonna be better than ever. Wait, we're gonna get rid of all the bloat, blah blah blah. Again, waiting for that forever. Now they get the floor wipe with them, and they know the PC handheld market's taking off.
And
Now they promise us
Well,
now.
so
Now
and
here
if
funny
they
you
that you
go
come.
say that.
Windows
You talk.
10,
Oh, sorry. You talked about marching orders, Jez. I'm about to let you get in on this because I know this is going to rile you up. You talked about marching orders, and as I'm reading this article here
Mhm.
from Games Radar, here's what it says, and this is the funniest thing I've seen, and this is how you know it feels like it's bought and paid for. Both of the new Xbox devices will rival the best gaming handhelds out there, and while they're different kettle of technical fish, the upcoming portable PCs will no doubt lure some players away from Nintendo's console. Plus,
Oh,
thanks to software, the emergent. Hang on, Jess. Don't get ahead of me. The emergence of these contenders could actually help the original Asus ROG Ally and Windows 11 options across the board to take on Steam Deck OLED in a big way. So, pause. Let me show you
major
what
pause.
these morons are thinking. Here's the Switch 2 selling 3.5 million units globally in the first 4 days. Has the Xbox sold 3.5 million units this year?
Xbox, dude, I think that's the entirety of the handheld market of PC handhelds. 3 million. I think the Steam Deck sold 3 million, and the ROG, Legion, and MSI sold 1 million.
Yeah.
There's 4 million, I think, the last time they said, of these handhelds.
So
and the
go
Steam
ahead.
is 3 of them. Well, just what Nate was saying, and Nate, since Windows 10, I told everybody again on my show, go into settings and go into Xbox game mode. There supposedly it's clicked on and everybody has it. It turns off background processes to optimize games. It says Xbox game mode. It was a feature of Windows 10 and Windows 11, and it's there and it's clicked on, and games still run like ass. So that, and if you read about Xbox game mode, PC game mode, it's basic background processes. Well, it didn't do anything. It was just I don't even know what it does. You click on it, you click off. I don't even know if it even works, but it's there. And they've been promising that was back when they were trying to make Windows 10 in the Windows 10 store. Like, it is so crazy that that they're all the media and stuff are doing this because they got the marching orders, they got the PR. Justine was out there, even her sister was out there, Paris was there, all of them. They all went out there. They had a green desk with the background, all for their channels, and they all just got glazed, and they all just hold it, and they did this. They weren't allowed to ask questions. They just took the screenshots they sent and did this. The major thing here is that we need to see the software promises. Who gives a shit about the hardware? Because there's nothing unique with the Asus ROG Ally X Xbox thing that's different, because these features that are coming to this device, this is an Xbox, are going to the ROG Ally, the ROG Ally X, the Legion Go, and the other PC handhelds.
Yeah.
This is not exclusive to this device. So what they're trying to do is that when Windows boots up and identifies a handheld device, that it will kick into this Xbox full experience. Now, if you recall, how well did they do with the tablets when they made their own hardware with the Surface? It's just going to detect it's a tablet and touchscreen Windows. How did that turn out? It worked out so well that they removed all the touch stuff, and now it's just Windows, and when you pull off a keyboard in tablet mode, it basically just makes the buttons a little bit bigger. They had a full Windows 8 overlay. They wanted to do, that was the whole point of Windows 8. It was to compete with the iPad. The iPad lit a fire under their ass. They're like, well, let's make Surface. And they made Surface in response to iPad, and Surface had Windows 8. And Windows 8, they had an app store and these big buttons. Remember the Windows button? You click on it, and it would have the big squares and the big buttons. Actually, the Xbox dashboard is a legacy of Windows 8. But the thing is that it never panned out, and they slowly just kept pulling away all those apps. And we still have the problems today. If you go to Control Panel on Windows and you go into Settings, they do the same thing, but one's from a legacy Windows and one's from the new Windows from Touch. It's a shit show. And think about what a crap they couldn't implement Touch. Because guess what? If they really did their job, they wouldn't have this problem right now, because Windows would just work great on a 7-inch screen because they optimized it for touch. They never did it. They pulled back on all their touch stuff when they realized they suck. So now they have to do something else, and that's the Xbox app. And I'm really interested to see if they do it, because if they do it, it's definitely something that would be appealing to, like, hey, I could get a PC, plug it into my TV, and it functions with the controller to play my games. Now, the problem is Steam, Epic Store. Are they going to, Epic Store, Rockstar Games, are all those launches going to become controller friendly? Probably not. And Microsoft So you work in their front end, but guess what? You still got to log in. You still got to go to their launches. Like PC is gonna be PC, and Microsoft is a lot of things out of their control because it's an open platform. That I don't know how close they're gonna do that. Like Steam has Steam Big Picture, but the rest of them don't have big picture modes. And when you got to go to Ubisoft Direct and EA Play and all this shit, it's annoying as fuck logging in to every single one of those things. And then they got updates. I don't know why Ubisoft Connect updates so much. I'm like, what are you collecting, bitches? Because it just updates every time you open it. It's just up. It's not even updating the game. It's updating the app. I'm like, what is the updating, Ubisoft? You didn't release any games. What are you talking about? Like, what's it updating? Yeah, they're always updating these apps. I have no clue, but you got to sit through that in these launches. And it's great that Xbox will have a front end, but that's all it is. It's a front end. You still have to deal with the PC stuff.
While their players take it in the back end. Hey-o.
Well, the thing is like there is such a huge thing. I'm going to tell you right now, Grindadamas here at the Thrifty Show, hit that like button. Coming out with the Asus called the Asus ROG Ally Xbox Beta, because that's exactly what this shit's going to be. This is going to be, we're going to get feedback from the Asus ROG Ally Xbox owners. We're going to develop it over time, and they're going to send it out hot. So this thing is going to be a beta. It's going to be just enough. And you want to know why? Because they didn't show any software for this show. When they're going to show it, Gamescom? Dude, they're rolling this shit out. They're going to do some sizzle reel about it. But the hands-on? Dude, it was hands-on right now. People could have tried it. Where's the software? Oh, we can't ask questions. Guess what? Does it have quick resume? Is this an Xbox? No quick resume. Because it's a PC. They don't have quick resume on PC unless they're doing it. And it's a lot of ifs. So, like, it just drives me crazy, the blatant lying to the customers, especially from these technical websites that know better. And a lot of it, I'm sure, is that preview optimism. You know what they do with previews? Like, oh, I'm optimistic. This has the potential to do this. It triggers people. It gets people all riled up because they're making bogus claims. But the thing is, they can make all they want because all they're doing is that glaze and preview. You know, when they get a game preview and they're like, you know, oh, like it played over. They don't talk about all the bad shit. They think they're going to fix it. That's what this is. This is preview, hands-on. And I'm sure every single one of these people that got the hands-on, Austin Evans, Justine and her sister, are all going to get free welcome packs with a box saying, welcome to the Asus ROG Ally, and they're going to be glazed on their channel, and nobody's going to buy this shit, and we'll be talking about it and laughing about it next year.
Speaking of laughing, did you know that stupid thing is predicted, not guaranteed, it's a prediction, that thing is predicted to be $899.99 motherfucking cents?
If you're lucky. The ROG Ally X right now is $1,000. It's $900 and $1,000. Last year's model came out last year. It's $1,000.
Oh,
it went up in price. It launched at $800 and $900.
So,
and
Jazz,
what's
you're
crazy,
there day one, ain't you?
Fuck that. No, I told you I got an MSI Claw last generation. Everybody hated. I got that thing for $350. That's all. That's perfect price because I could not. The ROG Ally X I really did like. But sitting there and dealing with the Windows shit and playing it, in my back of my head, I'm like, no way is this $1,000. No way is this $1,000. And what's crazy is you spend $1,000, and the first thing you do to every game is lowball it. Every friggin' game you play, you gotta get the settings and go to either low or medium. And then you have to tinker with or play it at 900p instead of 18, and use FSR, and then use all these rigmaroles to try to get the game to play because you're playing on mobile hardware, and then you got to deal with the battery life. It is really not a set it and forget it with these handhelds. You want to set it and forget it? Go get yourself a 5080 or a 4090. That's turn it on, max it out, go play. You get these things, you're $1,000 and you're playing everything on low settings, and hopefully you get 1080p 60 with some of these games. You know, Assassin's Creed, I fought that game so much to get that game to run on my ROG Ally, like to get decent 48 frames or something like that on that thing. for Assassin's Creed on there. It was a nightmare. Like and
that
then
was certified.
Certified my ass. You know what else it did? Go plug it, and they're like, oh, you could plug it into a TV like a dock. Yeah, you want to know what? That APU in there can't run a game at no friggin' 4K on your TV. That thing's gonna run at maybe 720p upscaled to 4K because it's like hooking up that's why the Switch is optimized. And software and hardware, and that's the thing. Steam Deck works because Valve makes the software operating system for the hardware, and it's and that's the other thing. Oh man, I'm so sorry I've taken over your show, but I'm going fucking crazy with this shit. It drives me crazy because the Steam Deck is a unified platform. It's console-fied. It is the same GPU, APU there. So configuring wise, they could go Steam certified. How is Windows going to do this when they got a Z1 chip, a Z2 chip, 16 gigs of memory, 24 gigs of memory, 32 gigs of memory, a Legion Go with removable joysticks, a Legion Go with a Legion 2 with a 1440p screen. Asus ROG has a 7-inch 1080p screen. One doesn't have VRR. One is in portrait mode. It is a Frankenstein hardware. How the hell is Microsoft gonna say this game works on Windows handhelds? It's a fallacy because there's no unified configuration. It's all over the place. And they're going to try to use data to say it's Windows certified or handheld certified. That probably means that it could be run at the lowest settings, but there's no way they're going to have a proper Steam verification because they do not have unified hardware. They used to. It's called the original Xbox, the console. But you can't do that in PC land because it's a Frankenstein. So you already coming out the gate have 20 different configurations, even last gen configurations. How are you going to say, oh yeah, Doom Eternal or Doom, works on this? Works on what? So they're going to have detect your configuration. This is the same people that go, I think, and all that other stuff. But please, it just drives me crazy, man. But they are lying out their ass. That's all I'm saying.
Speaking of, I gotta show this to y'all. Oh my goodness. Let me see if I can't find it real quick. I should be able to. I have to show this to y'all. So we talk about marketing, right? And Nate, Jez, we talk about marketing and how PlayStation just does marketing so well. And today I was watching YouTube, and actually technically I was listening to it. And I had a ad that popped up, and I just started listening to the ad, and I was like, oh, okay, because a lot of times the phone's in my pocket, my hands are, I have gloves on, whatever, and so like I'm just like, all right, cool. I just listened to a review or to the commercials. Plus the channels that I follow, it helps them out when you listen to the commercials all the way through, and so I did, but. Let me see if I can't find this. How do I can do this. I can do this. I'm smart. Hang on. How do I do this?
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying. Well, on the phone, I could find it easily. I'm trying to find my history, previously viewed videos.
Oh, it's on the profile thing.
On the PC. I literally can do this on on my phone in 2 seconds.
Yeah, because your history's right there. Yeah,
it is. It's right there.
YouTube blows.
Here it
like
is.
That.
History. Okay. Because I gotta show this crap to y'all. Here we go. It is from 2 weeks ago, and I just saw it today, and it's freaking comical. Let me see if I can't get this thing popped up. Why is it not wanting to play? There we go. Okay, y'all gotta see this shit. It's so hilarious. Here you go. I'm gonna turn it up, and I'm gonna bring it over and put this into theater mode so y'all can see it. And here we go.
Some say you can't have it all. Clearly, they've never been here. Here, every world, every story.
So it starts off by saying, some say you can't have it all. But clearly that's not true. Because here is every story, every world, every character. Listen to this shit.
Oh,
It's too good to miss. This is where Unbelievable shows up to play. This place, it's different from the rest. Once you're in it, there's no going back. Play the unmissable on PlayStation 5.
Okay, so play the Unmissable on PS5. We get everything. All the best are here. Come on over. You get everything all in one spot. You get the ease of use. You get the button. Just press it. Turn the damn thing on. Go in. Have fun. Play whatever freaking game you want. You can play ours. You can play theirs. You can play everybody's. Come on over. Have a wonderful time. I saw that, and my first thought was, oh shit, now they're clowning him. Now they're just clowning him.
I'm telling
like,
you, man.
openly.
Yeah.
This is not to the level of Shuhei handing the game over to show how to share a PS3 game, but it's close. like,
Yeah. There's a Gears of War beta on for the weekend. I don't understand how anybody could sit there and go, "This
wait,
is
the
a
Gears
great
of War
plan."
beta's on PlayStation?
Yeah, this weekend.
No shit.
Yeah, you pre-order it. You for $40. You could play.
Oh, that's so dumb. Okay.
Microsoft gotta get their money. They need pre-order.
I thought it was like a, hey, come check out our game. Let's see how it works.
Oh
No.
no. First off, I'm gonna tell you right now, they're just testing out the crossplay, but they're basically just glazing the PlayStation, because really the game is just an update to what Gears of War Ultimate was already. So like on PC and Xbox, they've been able to crossplay for 4 years, 5 years, since 2017. Since 2019, they gave you a crossplay. 2020, since the Gears Ultimate was released. Gears Ultimate was released in 2000. It was released the same year as Halo 5. Gears Ultimate. And then it came to PC, I think, in 2017 or something like that, 2019. So I don't know what they're beta testing the PlayStation. That's their beta testing, and you know, that's what they're beta testing.
Oh.
Because 8 years, yeah, right. See, Josh says 16. Yeah, it's been tons of years.
16 years, and then, oh man. So Josh just, I remember y'all saying something about that. You have to pre-order Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 to play the fucking demo.
Yes, that's another one. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna put a demo out so you can check the game out, but you have to give
for
us
a game
money
to
check the game out.
But Dirty, the thing is that the game is a remaster of a game that we already played already. Like, what the hell are you demoing? Like,
did you not see Grandfather Hawk when he was talking about the game?
Oh my God, you got to fix his eye. Whatever happened to his eye? He fell on a skateboard.
Well, hey, listen, the dude's 75 years old and has fallen a few times. Like, let's.
Jeez.
The poor guy. I feel bad for him. They rolled him out. Like, do y'all know when they rolled out Al Pacino? They rolled out Al Pacino at one of the Game Awards shows, and the dude
Keely had to do that.
Didn't know where the hell he was or what the hell he was doing. Man. But Nate, do you have anything more to say on the handheld? Oh.
No, give me 1 second.
Oh, you're good.
He's stunned.
Okay,
so
handheld, guys, we've been here almost 2 hours. We got 29 people in here, and we still have not broke 20 likes. I don't know
if that like
some
button,
of y'all
damn
are
it.
listening and not hitting the like, but seriously, it takes 2 seconds. Hit the like button. I'm not even asking you for money tonight.
Yo.
I'll ask again for money next week. But like,
you want me to rant more about these handhelds?
I'm not even asking for money here. Okay, speaking of ranting, let's talk about some stuff because I am.
Oh wait, Thrifty, I can ask you one question. Did you see that video of about the handheld, the Sarah Bond one?
No, I have not. So here's the deal. My work has taken off. Last week I pulled 60 hours. This week I'm probably going to be pulling 70. So I haven't had a chance to actually sit down, and I want to watch that interview. I don't just want to listen to it. I want to watch it so I can see her mannerisms, see how she handles questions, and kind of see what she does.
That interview? Yeah, no, that interview is a
sheer glaze.
Like, yeah, don't even. It's about like her travels and she's just trying
Harrison
to
Ford,
convince.
thanks, Josh.
Yeah, she's just trying to convince people. Like, her goal is to make Xbox not what it was, and I think it's going to be crazy next year, being the 25th anniversary of Xbox. The fact that they have redefined it to not even be about the thing that they're going to be celebrating next year. It's insane.
That's nuts,
I don't even. It is poetic how they're going to have a 25th anniversary of Xbox, and they're going to be shoving PCs and all this other stuff, saying this is an Xbox. Meanwhile, 25 years. It's not even the thing that they're celebrating. 25 years,
Oh
like it's
man,
just
listen, I can't believe
crazy.
that. I don't even think it's still up anymore because I think it got deleted when his channel got gone or got taken down or whatever. But like the video that Thrash did, the TV video,
Oh man,
like that thing was absolutely nuts. When you're watching it, you're like, oh, they've they haven't been about
that was another
Xbox since
promise.
Xbox 360. They haven't been they haven't
Yeah,
they haven't cared about Xbox since the Xbox
dude,
360.
that was another promise. How the TV and Snap, which they took away. Like, just look at every single one of their presentations, and that video that I covered on Monday. It's basically another one of like the Series X. Like, it's a monster it's one of those just sizzle reels of talking heads saying out egregious stuff like uncompressed pixels, the frame rates you've never seen before. Same crap with this now with the ROG Ally. We put a button. Yo, I'm telling you, man. They
Sorry.
every
That's so fucking harsh,
yet
man.
again, Microsoft they don't learn. They're using hardware to hide where Fable was nowhere to be found. Perfect Dark, no update on that. No updates on a Halo game. No updates on Everwild. No updates on any of this shit. They delayed that Clockwork Revolution was supposed to be this year. Last year they said it. Like, all that stuff, the games took a back seat because show the hardware.
You're kind of cutting in and out. What'd you just
Oh,
say?
well, I'm saying it was the this thing. Nobody's talking about any games. Like, we knew the games. Like, it's all about the handheld. That's what the takeaway was. Again, we're dealing with more hardware.
Josh brought up a really good point in the chat, and it was while you were doing your rant. But I want to go back to it a little bit because he had said that that the handheld is a good way for them to hide, or here it is, a great way for MS to hide from shit optimization. And so basically, if their games are not optimized, like somebody else in the chat, Jenna
Like Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Jenna was pointing out in the chat that FF16 will only run at 720p on the Series X. Well, if your baseline now is your new handheld hardware, and that's where everything needs to go, two things are about to happen. One, how in the heck do you expect developers to even care about you anymore? And two, yeah, you get to hide because you're like, well, it runs well on the handheld, but it doesn't run well anywhere else. Well, you should get a handheld. That's like...
Well, that's what Phil said. Phil said that's why he was not going to get rid of the Series S, because it's great for handhelds.
Yeah, it's great for Dude, sorry, you just like unlocked that show in my brain from when I was when I talked about that. Like, because he straight up said that.
He said it.
He said that it's where the future is going, because the future is handheld. So everybody having to design for the Series S is actually help, because that's when he had said it was helping developers for low configuration hardware. Yeah, I gotta shut my door. I'm getting super loud in the office. But like,
yeah, dude, he said it.
He said that shit. I remember that.
He will not drop the
S. Hell. Like, and guys, I am not hating on. Well, yes, I am, but I'm not intentionally going out of my way to hate on Xbox. This is just putting the pieces together from what the hell
they had a
happened
show
in this, and they had a show, and so like we are talking about the show. I can't help that Sony had a show that was fucking out of this world. Summer Games Fest had a show that I don't even want to talk about because it was shit, and like this was the other one, and this is a greater symptom of. This is a greater. I don't want to use the C word, but this is a greater problem in the gaming world and in the gaming community than Jeff Keighley putting on a 2 out of 10 show, right? Like, this is something that we've seen happening. I cannot believe you just like connected those dots in my head, because I was like, man, I had a whole segment on one of these podcasts. I had a whole segment that was basically breaking down that interview, and when I got to that part, I was like, y'all will never believe what this guy is about to say. Like,
he's bringing the Series S into the limelight. Like, and I was saying maybe that's why the X is hard to find, because remember, the X now it's they probably want you to go get a PC instead. Like they don't
It's
want
a
you to
dinosaur.
the X.
Why do you? It's
Yeah.
obsolete. You don't even need the damn like having the disc drive in it is dumb as shit now. Why?
Yeah.
Because their games are coming with a digital code while PS5 gets an actual physical copy. How in the hell do you not care about your player base that much? And if you're an Xbox fan, please hop in the chat and tell me why you stay with Xbox. Please, I want shit.
They'll say their library, but guess what? Where Microsoft's going, your library is past.
That shit's about to travel.
See, and that's what I said on Monday. I was like, if you have 350 games and Microsoft is like, hey, our next console is going to be the full Xbox experience and a PC, you could put Steam and stuff on there. Well, your games are not coming with you. Guess what? You start anew. You get 30 games starting. It's real easy for me to say, you want to know what, Microsoft? I'll keep my 30 games, but I'm going to buy everything now from Steam. Thank you very much. Or I'm going to go buy a PlayStation and start my library again. Or I'm going to buy a Switch and start anew. Because guess what? If I stick with you, I'm losing almost 90% of my games anyway. So if I upgrade for your shit, your Windows experience, I lose 90% of my games. That's why, again, their messaging always sucks. They're always overhyping hardware that never delivers. This is going to be the third time now, and it's not even them making it. And now they're doing this again. They did a whole sizzle reel about this thing, and what's crazy is that it's just a PC. It's already doing things that PC handhelds have been doing for the last 2.5 years. Steam Deck started it all, and it's like you're showing up going, this is revolutionary. We have never done this before. It's like, yeah, you never partnered with somebody before. And think about their OEMs. How does Legion, who's coming out with a Legion Go 2 with a Zen 2 on it, and MSI, who's coming out with the AI 8, or the MSI 8 Claw, how do they feel that Asus is getting this red carpet treatment from Microsoft, and they're making now $900, $800 devices with Windows and a Zen 2 processor, the same thing that's in the ROG Xbox? Well, you're favoring out an OEM. They're all competing with each other. Acer, Asus, they all have competition. How does Legion feel? So, like, this is really crazy because they, you know what? And then look at Legion. Their Steam Deck thing is really doing incredible. And maybe they just go with Steam and go, screw you, Windows, and Asus now sticks with Windows. I don't know. But I'm sure we're going to be laughing next year when Asus launches a ROG Ally with Steam OS on it. They're going to. And that's what people want. And people can probably put Steam OS on this thing. That's going to be hilarious. When they buy this thing, they're gonna gut it and put Steam OS on it. Unless Microsoft puts it on a partition and blocks it off, I don't know. But people are just going to.
It's funny you said that because I know people were already saying that they were putting their ROG Ally X's, like, I mean, it takes some, like you said, some tinkering. Yeah, Bazite and stuff. Yeah, and you can get Steam OS on there.
Yeah,
so
Paris did it. Paris Lily was like, I'm putting Bazite on
Paris
my thing.
did it. Yep.
Yeah. He put Bazite on the thing, and it makes all of a sudden your console that had bad battery life and bad performance get better performance because it put on a less bloated operating system.
That's
and I'm not telling people like, hey, like they can't do it. What I'm telling people is like almost every single time, we've always been promised this better mythical optimized performance for PC gaming. What makes you think 5 minutes later after an announcement that they're all of a sudden gonna cut, like the results are gonna match, the marketing? Like it's like Microsoft never has.
And look at the amount of time. What, in a year or two they're gonna fix 15 years of problems of Windows legacy stuff in just a year or so? Come on, like no way. And that's the other thing that Digital Foundry was saying. Like Steam OS had its time to mature. Big Pitch has been around for a long time. They added all the abilities, and then Steam OS, like it's a refined operating system and thing. And then they rolled it out to everybody. Once they perfected it on their own devices, Microsoft is just throwing shit at a wall again. They're like, do something. Like, and we're just going to work with an Xbox app. I'm like, yo, man, Xbox Big Picture, like it really, and then they're trying to tout the game bar, and the game bar is going to work with an overlay. Yo, that game bar,
Bro,
they just
I hate
updated
to
it.
tell you, but bro, Game Bar half the time don't even work for me.
It
Like, because
doesn't.
it's supposed to populate when I press the screenshot button on the Xbox controller. Like most of the time, I have to restart my computer just to get it to work. Like
Yeah, and it
like their
lags.
stuff is the stuff that doesn't work. Yeah, and it lags. Like I
And it
rather just
yeah.
I end up just using either the Nvidia overlay to take a screenshot, or I press F12 on a game I launched on Steam to take Steam
Yeah.
screenshots.
And it's always updating as well, Game Bar. It's always needs an
Yep,
update. You
always.
have to it's crazy. And what's also crazy is that like they have widgets now, and they like what they're gonna make widgets. Like they said, launch Discord from the Xbox thing. I'm like, is Discord gonna all of a sudden be controller friendly? Like, is that what they're planning on doing? Is there gonna be a Discord widget? But they don't answer that stuff. All these promises. This was the one thing that Windows and Microsoft focused on was the full Xbox software. And that was the one thing that no questions were asked. There was no capturing. There was no experiences. That was the thing that was under wraps. Meanwhile, that's the main thing, not the ROG hardware. The ROG 2 was coming out regardless. They slapped on some control sticks and a button on it. That's all it is. The major magic is going to be in what they're doing with that Xbox app. And that's the thing that's Voldemort. We don't talk about that. We just hear about what it's going to be. And we've heard about that before. Vapor chamber. We heard about the Series S is going to have just low resolution. That's it. Meanwhile, the scrapping performance modes, like I just don't. They do this every single time. They overhype. They do all these buzzwords. They get influencers out there to get positive work, positive things, and they're not honest with the customer. And that's why people don't trust their brand. Their brand is in the shit with Xbox. And the games that define the brand are now played everywhere else on better platforms with better performance on PC and on PlayStation. They're up shit's creek without a paddle. And we're going to watch it burn because that's all they can do. They do the same thing over and over again. Sizzle reel. They said so many things in that reel. I can't wait to bring it up next year. And we're going to laugh at it again. Because that device and all those promises, this shit's coming out in beta. I'm telling you, this holiday, there's going to be the Xbox full experience beta. And they're going to say we're learning.
That's the reason. That's the reason it's not coming out on other stuff until sometime late in 2026.
Yep.
Because they know it's not going to launch like that.
Yep, exactly. Beta time. But anyway, sorry, Thrifty. My God, and I know it's all tech talk and it's not game
so
stuff.
Fucking
I know.
lost right now.
but like it needs to be said, right? Because a lot of people
like,
are about to get bamboozled. You know what I'm saying? They about to get bedazzled. Right. If you old enough to have seen that
Digital
movie.
Foundry.
Yeah, like you know, like that's what's really going on out here.
Brendan Fraser.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth Hurley, wasn't it? It was Brendan Fraser and Elizabeth Hurley. She was the devil, right?
Yeah, she's the devil.
Yeah.
But no, and Nate's
so
right.
Like just for people who are too young for that to explain that,
you talked about something I knew.
he wished for a lot of money, and even though she gave it to him, the reason it's called bedazzled is because like 5 minutes later, the cops are on the way because she stole the money from a bank. So it's like she gave you your wish, but she played you because they also know you stole it.
Bamboozled.
So, yeah, that's what's going on here.
And Nate is right. Like, and even if like, see, Thrifty, if you go look and you look at that comments, everybody's like, oh, so this thing plays Xbox games. Like Microsoft is manipulating everything, and they're confusing Xbox owners. They're thinking that this is the upgrade path and that will play their games, and they're being very coy and they're confusing a lot of customers. And once they confuse them and they don't find out that none of their games come over, and then I'm going to tell you the thing that's going to kill this thing is the price. Everybody is going to just be quiet. They're hyped up now because it's something new, and Microsoft is really pushing it, saying this is an Xbox. But once they find out over time, it's just a PC, and it's just going to have the same limitations of their Xbox library that PC has. And on top of that, once they show it at $899 or $900, this thing is a no-go. The only thing they may go for is the white one, which I think may come around $600, but that one don't have the rumble triggers. That has a 40-watt-hour or 60-watt-hour battery. It doesn't have the same processor either. It's a Z2,
Yep.
which may be like a Steam Deck processor from when the Steam Deck launched. So it's like a weird old processor. That thing may be bottom of the barrel, $600, $700. And I'm going to tell you another fact. If you listen to the ROG Ally, because I follow them all the ROG Ally guys that talk about their the guys that manufacture it, he said that the reason why he didn't put an OLED on there, and the reason why is because the VRR and an OLED make go very expensive, and they want to keep this within their Asus ROG price bracket, which has been $600 to $1,000. So
God,
this thing is going to be the 700 actually. The ROG from the first one that launched with the busted SD card, that was the first affected device. I returned that thing because it fried my SD card because it was a bad manufacturing thing, and people are burnt from Asus. That's why a lot of them jump to the Legion Go, because the ROG, the first one, was the defect. It was burning the SD cards, and they were failing, and they never acknowledged it. They never reissued anything. They avoided it, but it was a problem with the SD card slot and micro SD card slot. And then what they did was they created the Ally X, which fixed it. They moved it, but they never acknowledged that that was a hardware defect in the OG ROG. So if you're looking for that OG ROG, be careful, because that thing whatever it is, it messes up your SD card. And what's crazy is that when your SD card gets messed up, Internet like File Explorer crashes on the ROG. And I'm sorry I'm talking so much about it, but I went through all this. I had every single one. I love gadgets. I love all these crazy things, so I'm in it, and I've experienced it all. So if you need any advice, you just hit me up on X, or you hit me up on my YouTube channel. That's right. I'll tell you everything. I'll tell you everything. I've been through it all. I walked through it, everything. I'm a tech nut.
So Wara actually posted in the Discord. It's from Fan the Deck. It's Asus ROG Ally, How Many Lies Were Told. If y'all are in the Discord, you have access to that as well. So y'all should go check that out. I'm probably going to listen to it tomorrow because that does sound pretty cool. Because like I like the tech stuff, I just don't know anything about it. Like I'm just now dipping my toe in it, and I mean very, very slightly. Like the UE5 presentation was about the most tech stuff I've listened to outside of Mark Cerny breaking down the PS5 and him sticking his chest out and just basically slapping folks with his chest hair. Like, it was great. Like, hey, it does all this, even though y'all said it couldn't.
But Thrifty, like, you got the portal. That's why the portal worked, because it just, you just need a Wi-Fi, and boom, your PlayStation, your library's there, your saves.
It makes a picture.
It's there, exactly. And yes, it's limited based off of Wi-Fi, but everybody knows how to get a Wi-Fi connection. But that's all you need. And then guess what? You don't need dashboard updates. You don't need configurations. You don't need to say, is it cross-play enabled or is it cross-saved? You're going to think all this stuff that they're doing with this Anywhere, it's your save goes with you. Well, guess what? If it's not Play Anywhere, some games will be playable on PC and Xbox, but your save don't go with you, because it's not Play Anywhere, because all these have to be done at a developer and an individual level. The portal, you're saving it, it's your PlayStation. There's no library that's inaccessible. You don't have 400 games on your PlayStation, and then on the portal it's 10 games because you own them. It's all your games with you, and that's why the portal, and it's only $200. That's why it was so successful. It was just, I need internet connection.
Fun fact.
That's a limitation.
If you have, so I've done this before. When we were on vacation in Florida during spring break, we had had somebody who was coming over to the house to let our dogs out, feed the chickens, do all that stuff. And I remember being like, hey, can you like take the disc out of the PS5 and can you pop in Stellar Blade for me? Because you can even, it doesn't just limit you to just the games you have digitally on there. you can actually play the disc version of the game because it's just your PS5. It's just an extension of
Exactly.
the PS5, and it's freaking awesome. I love the fact that I can like just have a disc in there, because generally I'll have one game on disc that I'm playing through, and then a lot of my other stuff is digital or what have you. Like right now, like Balatro, it's a digital game. I have Final Fantasy X on disc, so I have Balatro digital, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate digital, and RoboCop digital, and Final Fantasy X physical. Those are the 4 games I'm kind of rotating between. And so because of that, I have them all there. I can play them whenever I want. I can do the thing that I love that should be on a freaking t-shirt. If I ever make t-shirts for this channel, I have a couple things that should be on them. Hero wrote one down last week, but like plastic box make picture, that needs to be on a freaking t-shirt, because that's literally what I want. I want to go and push a button and the damn thing work. I hate it when shit doesn't work. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want...
And that's, yeah. And the Switch does that too. Oh, and by the way, the Target screwed me, but I was able to get one at Best Buy. It's going to come over the weekend, Switch 2.
Oh,
we'll see.
Stephen Leon said this. He said, "Here comes the Red Ring of Death handheld edition."
Yeah. Dude, it's going to be RGB death. It's an RGB red lights. And this is the other thing, Thrifty. Like, this is an Xbox thing. Just think about it. I can't wait for somebody. I was thinking about this because I'm a sicko. I can't wait for somebody to get Steam and get one of those friggin' porno games and have it in the Xbox launcher and go, Xbox plays mature rated porno games. What about the kids? You know what I mean? Because that's what you can do. There's those dirty ass Steam games that have all the nasty ass shit. And you could have that launch from your Xbox. So you could say Xbox plays erotic games.
Jeez,
So
man.
there you go.
Well, they play PlayStation games now, right? Like that's the dumbest
They
shit.
play
I'm
PlayStation
not
games.
even-
They play
that's-
erotic games.
No.
Xbox plays everything now. Guess what?
Not.
Anymore. But think about it. You could put those in the Xbox launcher from Steam, and you could be like, look at my dashboard. It has all the erotic games from Steam, and it's like the kids Xbox. You know what I mean?
Josh
Like,
just
this
said it
is-
puts the XXX and X.
That's right. It's a triple Xbox.
It's the box is in the
XX.
title.
Yeah, you sure box is in the title. Phil talking about different box. Oh shit. Phil.
Hey, that's
You
a
dirty
different,
ass.
That's a different podcast.
He's like boxes in the name. Oh shit, you talking about the game. But I'm just saying, like, where do you draw the line of this is an Xbox? Like, if you really want to put your head out there and say it's an Xbox, well, if you could do all the stuff that PC does and you're calling it Xbox, like, might not be the family friendly device
No.
because people could do some crazy shit with it and your name is Xbox. Do you want,
good
like,
luck
you know what I
competing
mean?
with the freaking Switch?
Yeah, go look with the Switch. Like, it's really, like, get a news article like that out. I just put my Steam erotica library on my Xbox dash. Thanks.
I shit you not. I was at a house the other day, and they had an issue with their AC. Kid you not, the grandmother or the mom was like 65, 70 years old. The daughter was like 40. Both of them had brand new Switch 2s. And I'm sitting here going like, y'all both? Yeah? Yeah, no, she plays all the time. She plays every single night. She kept me up till 6 a.m. last night because of Zelda. I was like, what in the heck? Really? Like, listen, Nintendo got some folks, dude. They got that family.
Yo,
they got
man.
if the kid has one, the dad has one, the mom has one.
You see how much, dude?
Holy
It's sold like
shit.
crazy, man, and it's not stopping. That's just with Mario Kart. Wait till Donkey Kong, and wait till they announce the next Mario game. Yo, and forget about when they announce the next Smash Brothers game. Oh, you forget about that.
Yeah.
The roof is gonna blow off.
It's so crazy to me that Xbox thinks that they can come in, no clout, no nothing, getting kicked in the teeth, getting knocked down, dragged out for the entire generation, this one and the second half of last one, come out with a new product in a market that they have not been in really successfully at all, ever. And all of their shit's in beta that is required to make this thing perform well. Cloud,
and that's great.
Still in
Yep.
beta. Like,
No,
so-
yeah, cloud. Yeah, that's still in beta.
So you're gonna play over the cloud on this device when cloud's in beta on a brand new device?
You have two betas.
What the hell
But
do you
Thrifty,
think's gonna happen?
you make a great point. The whole thing is though, is guess what? If it doesn't work out, they could just slip out the back door. They didn't make the
Pause.
hardware. They could not update the app anymore, and they just slip out the back, slice Satya, and that's the thing. There's no risk to this. They put a button on the thing, and they couldn't even put a round one on because Asus says we're not round. Like
My
Asus
question is,
designed this thing.
How long until Xbox comes out and says, okay, we've learned, we've gathered data, and this new model is going to be coming out in 2 more years, and it's going to have everything you want and all of that's because we've learned and we've done, like, how long until we get the same speeches that we've been getting for the past 12 years?
I think next year they come out and they say,
I
think next
year.
next year. I think next year they come out, and I think, or maybe in the end of this year, I think once this thing launches, we're gonna hear more and this thing launches and starts getting this Xbox experience goes to other handhelds. I think you're gonna hear we're slowing down production of the series consoles. I think the console production. I was listening to Nate the Hate or whatever like that, and they already believe that the Series X is like. They reduced or slowed down production. That's why they increased the price, because the production of the hardware, even retailers are not able to order. It's like made per order. Like they're not stocking them. So I think they're pulling back on it because they're planning to probably roll out this full Windows experience on like a console. Maybe they got a partnership with Legion, and Legion's like, oh, well, we'll make these mini PCs and we'll call that an Xbox, and that'll have the Windows experience on it. Because that's what it is. It's the Windows Windows big picture, the Xbox big picture mode. That's it. It's relegated all to the app now. So the console, I think they're gonna pull back, or they may still keep the S around. I think because that helps the handhelds. But I think the Series X, I think that one's going to turn into a PC box. Like they're going to have somebody make like a mini PC or something like that. I think the S will stick around, but I think the other one is kind of slow to get up because it's still even. I think you can't even find it still. I don't even know.
So
check.
It's not all bad for. I'm sorry, it's not all wine and roses on the other side of the blue-green pond, as it were. Because we do have some stuff, and before we get out of here, as we've been here for 2.5 hours now, we got 40 people in here. Holy crap on a stick! Welcome. Get out of here, as we've been here for 2.5. And that is not right. That's supposed to be silenced. Sorry about that. Yeah, we got 40 people or 39 people in here with 19 likes. Guys, get off your phone, pull it out of your pocket, look at it, swap over a window, hit the like button. Thank you. And let's get into PlayStation here, because 2 things have happened in the past week that make me scratch my head. One, PlayStation Plus Premium subscribers are getting absolutely screwed in the back end by PlayStation. PlayStation's not even hiding it anymore. It's rough. Listen to the games coming out on PS Plus, and then we're going to get into Days Gone, Sony Bend getting axed by 30%. But listen to this. Battlefield 2042, Ueden Chronicle 100 Heroes, that's good. Endless Dungeon, excited about that. Or I might actually play that. FBC Firebreak is probably DOA, even though I'm going to give it a chance because I love the Control universe. Five Nights at Freddy, don't care. The Hunter, don't care. Train Sim, don't care. Reroll versus Royal Reverie, don't care. And then Deus Ex: The Conspiracy for the PlayStation Plus Premium game of game. One fucking game. One game.
That sucks.
One fucking game. That is
Those old games suck, man.
That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Like, I saw this list, and because I was thinking about, keeping it subscribed because I've had it for 2 months now because I forgot to cut it off last month. I was like, I'm going to stay subscribed. I'll sign up for the year, see how it goes. But then they do this, and I'm like, man, I don't have time for that. That's stupid. I'm not paying $15, $18 a month. I'm not going to pay $160 a year to get shit shoveled at me, which it seems like they go 1 good month and then 3 bad months. And I was used to that on PlayStation Plus before it was called Essential, because like those were, you paid $5 a month, you got your access to the internet, you got your voice chat, you got all your other shit, did everything you needed to do, you got multiplayer access, and oh yeah, hey, guess what? On top of it, you got these 3 games every month that you could try out. Fantastic, great, wonderful. The games never left. It was fine. It was yours. Ye freaking ha. But this service, outside of the first year-ish, has been absolute garbage. And yes, we get occasional months where it's like, oh, this is really cool, this is awesome, this is great. But most of the months have been, it's okay, it's fine. But this month, man, this month is awful. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's because they're, like, it's summertime and their data says that even though kids are out of school, most kids are either on vacation or they're outside, or I don't know. Like, I don't know what would possess them to think Battlefield 2042 is, who hasn't, listen, that game has been $5 at some points. Who has not touched that? That's what I want to know. Ueden Chronicles, 100 Heroes, best game on this list, hands down, and I haven't even played it, and I can tell you it's the best game. Like, that's just, I don't know. That's crap to me, and I'm tired of seeing PlayStation be the market leader and literally just act like they don't give a shit. And I don't know. Am I overthinking this? Because here, to celebrate Days of Play,
it's a crapshoot, man. Subscription gaming sucks. Like, it's not going to be, like, it's going to be ups and downs. That's why you have to have it as like a backup plan. Yeah. But like, I think the fail that they got,
and Riven. I was wrong. They added 3 games: Myst, Riven,
and they did the NFL. They did NBA 2K25. They did Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, and they did Alone in the Dark, and they had the Destiny Final Shape. So I think they put their gusto in their base
Days of Play stuff, yeah.
The essential one, and I think the catalog one got the shaft.
Which is the one people are paying more for.
Well, yeah, exactly. So they probably wanted to throw a bone to those that are paying the less one and maybe get them to upgrade. I have no clue. But all I'm saying is, like, I think the biggest failure that they got is the premium classic games. I think that is the weakest area. They have so much potential there, and they are trickling shit in there left and right. Like, you know, Myst was in there. They just put Myst in there. But, like, I look at that Classics one, I'm like, you guys have so much potential. I know they're putting Twisted Metal in there, 3 and 4 Black. They're doing that. The Twisted Metal they're putting in there. They announced that at the show. I think that's next month. So they're getting better, but I you know, some games, but I think they could be putting so much more in there. More from the PlayStation 1. You know, PlayStation 2, man. They could be putting games in there left and right, but I think it's very limited in what they're doing there. But yeah, the subscription stuff, like, you know, it is what it is. Got mine for a year for like $140, you know, for the year. I get the year discount on it because mine lapsed. So that's another thing. Let it lapse and then see, because that's how I got mine. Like, mine canceled, and then like a day or two later, I went to renew it, and they let me renew it with a discounted price, rather than if I would have renewed it before my date expired. So you could try that trick to see. But yeah, again, it's subscription gaming. Like, you know, it is what it is. I would say, you know, it's not essential. It's, you know, it's
no pun intended.
Get essential, but you don't. It's not extra, or don't get premium extra. Premium definitely is you know, I was
hoping premium was going to be the best one. You know, I was like, premium is going to be good. They're going to do great.
Well, they get the trials. You get the streaming to the portal. You could stream cloud games to the portal with it.
Yeah. Which actually works extremely well. Like,
and no, it's cool is a lot of games are PSP and stuff, and they work great on the portal.
Yeah, they really do. Like, that is one of the coolest, because it does work really, really well. I can't talk bad about that. You
don't have to use your own console. It frees you from, like, if you're having bad network or you lost your, like, that's the worst, when you're away and like your PlayStation just doesn't connect anymore on the portal, and you're like, oh man, at least you could try to get a Wi-Fi connection, play some games on the cloud, like with their stuff. But you know, that it allows that. There's trials. I just think the classic game section really is lacking. But
Just needs a
again,
little help.
it's
Just needs some, like,
and
and they
no
have
VR games either, dude. Like they were putting VR games in the catalog too, and then they kind of slowed that down. That's not guaranteed either.
No, and it's not. And the other thing that's not guaranteed, and we'll just Nate, are you still with us?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, so what you got on this, man? What's your take on this? Where
I
you at?
mean, I don't know. I like it. My stuff's like in the background when it comes to like the PlayStation Plus stuff. Um, I mean, yeah. I mean, you want the top stuff, but I'm a lot like Jez in this. Like, it's just kind of in the background for me because like I don't even need it for multiplayer. The only multiplayer game that I even play is free to play, which means you
Free to
don't even need it.
play.
So, like, I'm just. I mean, honestly, I get the games if they get something that happens to come, cool that I hadn't picked up, cool. But like realistically, I buy. I mean, you know me. I buy a lot of my games day one.
Yeah,
So,
same. Yeah.
I like it, and if it
yeah,
comes in a different color, I'll buy it.
And it's for the kids too. Like a lot of the
yeah. I
Bluey
mean,
games in
essentially,
there. I have my kids play. Like there's a couple of games in there that the kids will play. The Bluey, there's a Paw Patrol. So I boot it up and let them play. It's part of the subscription. I wouldn't buy those games.
yeah.
Listen,
It's just
I
it's just
almost had to buy the Bluey game.
it's like that. You almost had to buy it.
I
Oh
almost had
man.
to buy
Pig.
it. My kids
Yeah, they
saw
got
it
some.
and it was like, Bluey, and I was like, no, no.
They got Sonic in there. The Sonic world, the open world one. So yeah, she plays that. So yeah, there's some games I missed or whatever like that. I play them in there, but I mess around with it. But it's background.
Well, like
Yeah,
you said, it's background stuff, right? Like I've had stuff come in there, and then it'll leave before I even get around to it. Like I have so many games to play. Like I said, I have it because I want it for certain things. Obviously, eventually I'm gonna play GTA 6. You know what I'm saying with my nieces and nephews and stuff. Like there's a reason. Like I hate I don't PlayStation Plus is kind of like a thing where I rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. But
Uh,
also I know a lot of people get it. It's not that I get nothing out of it. Like there's at least a game or two that happens to come that hits and that
like Balatro for me.
is really good.
I mess with the
Well, yeah,
trials.
Balatro. I never
Balatro's
bought. Yeah,
great.
I never bought.
I
I
bought it on
never
my
bought it.
phone, but I didn't have it on PlayStation. Now I got it on PlayStation.
I'm about to buy that shit on my phone. I'm so
And I mess
close.
around with the game trials too. I like the game trials. I mess around with a lot of. They got some new games in there. Like mess around with game trials.
Yeah, like
Some of them
it's
are just enough.
the
too.
catalog. The catalog is always rotating. Like, like I like to have access to the whole thing. Like, it does me a lot of good to have it. But like, me, like I'm a very dialed in gamer. So like, I've got a list of things coming, and I'm going to play those games before everything else. So like we obviously know, Death Stranding is about to drop. Like everything is getting dropped when Death Stranding 2 hits. Period. And right now, I'm playing Bravely Default on the Switch too. So when Priscilla takes her Switch back, I'll be back on my PlayStation playing Suikoden 2, going for the platinum. So like I've already got so many things lined up that like I never let it dictate what I'm going to play. If something happens to come that does it, cool. But yeah, it's never really trumped me because it's like I said, I'm gonna have the games I want, and chances are I even get them on sale before they hit the PlayStation Plus. So that's the other thing. Like we bought, uh, Priscilla actually really liked the Dragon Age game so much that when she beat it on PC, we immediately bought it on PlayStation so she could double 100% it. So it's like, but yeah, now like what, a month ago, if it came to PlayStation Plus, it was like, all right, cool, for people who hadn't tried it. And like I said, it pays dividends for a lot of people because I've seen a lot of people super skeptical about that game who then played that game because it came to Plus. So,
I'm
I
not
mean,
gonna lie,
personally,
I
I
haven't
think
downloaded.
that's a solid game. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you have it there. It's available to you now, and you didn't have to go through any extra money to get it. And now it's on your account as long as you got Plus. So it's like that. That's why I think it's good. Yeah, I mean, months are gonna be hit or miss, but again, like I said, it's always gonna be like that. I never expect them to give me something I've really, really wanted, unless for whatever reason the year was just so stacked that that was like the 27th game on my list or something. Like
Yeah.
it's just yeah. But
And like what
I
Chris
don't
said,
dislike it. But
uh, yeah,
yeah, go
let's
ahead.
say what Chris said in the chat. Like, I get the yearly one. The yearly one gives you a discount. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't have like per month. Like, this is a bad month. I'm not paying this month. Like, I have the year. So like, I think mine's up in October. But it depends. Like, I was considering not doing premium and doing extra. But then when they gave me the discount to renew, so I had the discount for like 144 instead of 160 for the year. I
Mhm.
was like, oh, for 144, like, I'll just get it as like Nate said. Like, you'd rather have it and get prizes like a Ball Ultra, and even the Destiny. Like, I probably throw that. I'll probably play that last Destiny they threw in there too, like to try that campaign. In between stuff. But you're right. When these new games come, like I'm playing Last of Us 2. Like, I have all these games I play, Wukong and all these games, Expedition. Like, I have a lot of games to play, plus those that come in. I mess around with the trials too. Um, but again, I let the family kind of plays too. Like, let the kids play those other games and the Sonics and all those other games, the Paw Patrols in there, and it's fun to go through it when you have because I know the games I buy, and then I use the subscription for like, oh, let's go look, and they have categories like family games, like co-op games, things like that, and it's nice to have that library there of just games I didn't buy that, hey, let's play
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
a co-op game. So it's just
Exactly.
there. Like, I wouldn't recommend if you really want the games and best games and stuff, I wouldn't get it.
So you actually just brought up a really good point, talking about games that you don't buy or people don't buy, and these sub-services are great for. We're gonna use that as a transition to talk about a game that apparently didn't do well enough to save people's jobs at a studio. Uh, but Days Gone developer Ben Studio has lost about 30% of their employees, about 40 people gone, yeeted out of
Yeah,
there,
shout out to my boy. Shout out to my boy Rob. I hate to see him go.
out of here, done.
Crazy, man.
These guys, like, it's after a failed live service. Listen to this. Earlier this year, Ben Studio wrapped development on a live service concept. Sorry, this is from GameSpot. Uh, The statement reads, after careful consideration, we choose not to move forward with it as the team shifts its focus to the next project. We made strategic changes to better the position of the studio for long-term success. As part of this transition, a workforce reduction has taken place at the studio. This decision was not made lightly. Let me get this on here for y'all so y'all can see it too. This decision was not made lightly, and we are extremely grateful for the meaningful contributions of all those impacted. Ben Studio has been a valued part of PlayStation Studios for decades, and we remain confident in its future and creative direction. Sony has canceled multiple games since it's announced its focus on developing live service concepts following the acquisition of Destiny 2 developer Bungie in 2022. Originally, the publisher said that it was intended to launch 12 live service games by 2025, but in 2023 narrowed that to just 6. The Bend layoffs are just the latest of many Sony has made in recent years, including the closing of Firewalk Studio after the launch of live service first-person shooter Concord, and layoffs at Bungie following its acquisition and the release of Destiny 2's last major expansion, The Final Shape. So, and then they go into London Studios and the independently owned Deviation Games. Both shuttered in 2024. The latter studio was closed before it could ship its first game, after being founded by Call of Duty veterans Dave Anthony and Jason Blundell in 2020. Both studios were reportedly working on games that were canceled in their closures. So this is what chasing trends seems to get. You chase trends, you acquire studios, you acquire IP, you acquire all of this stuff, and then the next thing we
Acquire
see,
Bungie.
you get all this shit. And then the next thing you know, everything is crumbling down. Firewalk Studios gets closed. Bend is losing 40% or 40 employees, 30% of their workforce. You have games canceled by these studio heads, and then that leads to these studios getting closed. Even if, Josh, I understand that Deviation wasn't owned by Sony, uh, but like it's absolutely, it sucks so bad to keep seeing this. Make no mistake, I'm not a bin studio guy. Like, Days Gone was not my jam at all. I did not like it. I didn't like the motorcycle. I didn't like having to find gas for the motherfucker. Like, that was
Oh, I
boring
liked all
and
that.
annoying. I hated it. And so, like,
Oh man.
I can't. And so, like, it's not even that. It's just the fact that, like, you chase trends, and we see it with Microsoft, we saw it with Tencent, we saw it with Embracer Group, we see it with Sony, you see it with EA, with Ubisoft, any of the big publishers, any of the massive tentpole publishers. They chase these trends and they end up screwing themselves in the end, and it sucks. It sucks when we constantly hear about these are great developers. Well, if they're so great, then why the fuck are you firing them? Like, if they're so awesome, then why are you firing these people? Why are you getting rid of them? And now, some might say, well, they were working on the live service title, they're no longer needed now. Is there nothing else? Didn't y'all say y'all were working on something else? Why not put them over there to get the game out faster? Be efficient. Get this shit done quicker. Like, then some might say, well, everybody's been praising how studios like Sandfall Interactive can get more done in the same amount of time because they're more agile, they're smaller, they're this, they're... It's just a lot right now in gaming, and I get tired of every freaking other week we hear about a new studio that was working on something that now they're not, and now it's closing, and now it gets laid off. Microsoft lays off 10,000 people, Sony lays off 1,000 people, 300 people. Like, it's absolutely shitty. And I think this one makes me scratch my head more because if y'all remember when the live service game, when it came out that game was canceled, you know, Shuhei went out and he talked about how games are canceled all the time. You don't hear about most of them, blah, 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 but we cancel most games that come across our desk. It just happens. Cool. And then Ben comes out and is like, we have cool stuff being worked on. We are so excited to be able to show it to you. We're off of this project, but don't worry. We still have stuff that's cooking. We still have stuff that we're getting ready to show y'all. Let's go. And I'm like, okay, cool. Cool. We know it's not Days Gone 2. They're working on something else. This is awesome. And then this is why it sucks, because now you're like, well, shit. Was what they were working on not good? Like, are they back to being in pre-development so they don't need that many people? And the shitty thing is Wara in the Discord earlier, he was talking about it, and he was like, so he made a comment, and it was basically, I guess the remaster didn't go as well as they thought. And I was like, yeah, maybe, or it's something else. And the problem is that we're never going to actually know. Because unless somebody like Shuhei retires and starts spilling the beans everywhere, we're not going to know what the hell happened and why. All we get to do is speculate, which does kind of suck. But this is sometimes a show where we give our opinion on current events in the gaming industry. So, with that, Nate, we'll go ahead and start with you. What do you think about this, man? It's another layoff. It's another fucking seemingly live service caused layoff. And so, what are we doing?
Yeah, my bad. Priscilla was talking to me,
No, you're fine.
but she's always talking to me right when you call on me. But yeah, I mean, it sucks, man. I mean, I hear them say, like you said, and they're like, oh, they're so talented, this, that, and the third. You know, and then let them go. You know, it's like, man, it's not that the whole messaging isn't really matching up.
They're about to.
But honestly, I think I would have felt better. I mean, I get it, and if people want to go, they can go. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, not everybody's gonna want to stay or transition, right? But if I mean, if they had other opportunities at, you know, other locations, I'd rather them do that. You know, PlayStation helping them transition to other studios within the first party team, if that's something that would work better for them. That's something I'm more familiar with because, like I said, Rob, who was an animator at multiple first party studios, who we frequently talk to on Twitter. Some of the guys in the chat probably know him from Twitter, but he was an animator for several of the Last of Us games, God of War, like a ton of stuff. And he was working at Ben right now. He was one of the ones that got caught in the layoff. And it's like, I know he's extremely talented. You know what I'm saying? We've played a ton of his work, talked to him about attention to detail and things that gamers notice, and all these different things. That's why, like for me, I'm like, I want to continue to see these people that have put in, 15, 20 years of great work, working for PlayStation, to continue to do so, even if it's at another studio. I'd rather do that, provided, like I said, the person wants to. But yeah, I mean, it's never fun to talk about this stuff, to have it happen. And yeah, I mean, there's going to be repercussions for a lot of the failures going on and a lot of the resets. So yeah, it sucks, man. I don't want it to happen. No one wants it to happen. Nobody, it's never fun getting laid off at all, no matter how awesome your severance package is or whatever that is. I mean, unless you're a CEO, that's probably a couple million in your bank account. But you're not really worried about it. I'm sure you'll be hired somewhere else in a week or two if you feel like it. But as far as like the working people, and some of these extremely talented devs, yeah, it's never fun, man. You never want to see that. So hopefully, at least they're not necessarily saying it, but my hope is that placement and a bunch of things are going on to work with them to get everybody employed, either, like I said, within other locations within PlayStation, or with other companies. So that's the best thing I hope out of it. You know what I'm saying? But like I always tell people, man, there's consequences to these cancellations and these live service failures. So people who think they're not, look at Exhibit A. But yeah, that's it for me.
Jez, what about you, man? Same shit, different chapter?
Yeah, I tell you, this is Sony FAFO, man, and it's just a shame that people lose their, people just lose their. The thing that ticks me off is that they didn't want, or Herman himself, again, didn't want Days Gone 2, and they wanted to do this. I can't believe that they're doing these service games. Like the whole point, this service shit. I liked when they were just getting these little developers and make the mistakes and let them do the service stuff. And if they didn't pan out, then that was it. But like the fact that they were taking Studio Bend and they were taking the new quietly Blue Point and even with Naughty Dog and stuff, and taking their big companies and their big studios and have them separate out or prioritize these service games. I just, the push they made, I don't know. I just think that, honestly, I think that whole Bungie thing screwed everything. I think they had a plan. I think buying Bungie, that acquisition and inheriting all that bullshit from them and that Destiny drama and all that stuff from how they're running, and then them running around and giving all these advice and shit. I think that Bungie really was, like the Mothman in the situation. I think that they came in and just look at the results of their game, Marathon. They're the ones analyzing other people's games, saying you need to know how to do service games. And I think whatever Bungie ran their mouth, the respect that they must have gave them, and they think that some of these games didn't pan out. And I feel that was a big turning point in the service pitch. Was they had a plan. They had all these studios working on service games. They said, let's go get Bungie. Bungie will help be an advisor. And I think Bungie just did bad advice because they had their head so far up their own ass. And now look at them. Now they're scrambling around. They're probably going to be, their whole board is going to be owned by Sony soon. But this service stuff, there's definitely success stories in it. And, popular things like even that fighting game, like that token game, that looks like it's going to be, it's on both platforms. So it is it's probably one of their service games. They'll add characters to it and things like that. Not necessarily, and that one looks successful. Then Helldivers and things like that. So, there is success stories, but this one, unfortunately, is bad. And I just can't believe they didn't do Days Gone 2. And they made them mess around with some bullshit service game and now canceled it. And who knows what they're working on, if they're doing Siphon Filter. But what I hate is that they're, the fact that things are getting canceled and it's maybe reducing the output of what we would have gotten if they didn't
That part.
do what they did. That's
And
what
that
pisses me
part.
off. Yeah.
Yep.
That would piss me off. The stuff that we're not getting. Like, it's like, oh, well, you made mistakes, but we're not getting it. And think about it. Studio Ben just did Days Gone 2. We probably been playing it already. Who knows?
Exactly.
And now we have nothing from them. And who knows when we're going to get stuff from them. Is it going to be a siphon filter? Is it like when is it going to get announced? Next year? Then coming out 2 years from now? And the same thing with Blue Point. Blue Point was cooking with Shadow of the Colossus, and then they had the Demon Slayer, Demon Souls at the beginning, and then it's like, oh yeah, we bought them, and now they were making a God of War service game. Like, what? And then now that got canceled, and we're sitting here now 5 years in, and no new announcements, nothing, and who knows what the recovery is like from that. And the fact too that they got rid of people at Ben, they didn't repurpose them. If they were working on a siphon filter or working on a bigger game, why would you, unless those 40 people were specifically brought on for multiplayer? I don't know. And you said somebody you knew lost from there. Were they a multiplayer person?
Yeah, so Rob is an animator. So
Animator.
he definitely could be repurposed, and like I said, he definitely has before. Like I said, because he's worked at Naughty Dog, then he worked at Santa Monica, and then he worked at Ben. So, I mean, that's why I said my hope is that, for the people, there are positions that are not, I guess, like you said, specifically multiplayer, that, what I'm saying, they could continue there, because I mean, I've talked to him personally in a couple times in Spaces, and he even said, like personally, like it's the best place he's ever worked, as an animator. So I know he would love to continue that. I know he bought a house out there, what I'm saying? So it's like, it's everything for him.
God.
So, yep. So
like an
I
animator,
really hope
yeah.
they
like
take care
why
of that.
would? Yeah, why?
Yeah, he can go anywhere.
Yeah,
And
so
not only that,
that's
he's worked with
crazy.
almost all your main teams already. Like I said, he's worked with Naughty Dog, he's worked with Santa Monica, and now Bend. Like, I mean, super, super talented. So it's like I'm personally not trying. I'm thinking if I'm in talent acquisitions, for PlayStation, I'm not trying to. I'm trying to keep recurring talent like that. Yeah. Especially
and what I don't
like
understand is Days Gone 2. Like, Days Gone was, it could have been their thing, like, and just I don't get, that they just didn't want a sequel to it, and I know that was at the time that they didn't think, maybe because of the sales, and they were running on their high horse. Remember back then when they said no, like we think about it now, they probably said should have made them do Days Gone 2. Back then they were running on their high with, like, Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, God of War, Spider-Man. So like Days Gone was like the kind of ugly duckling out of that, that company. But now when you look at it, Days Gone 2 would have been pretty nice right now. Like, you know what I mean? Especially last year when they would just had, just a couple of games like there, like Astrobot and stuff. Like a Days Gone would have been really nice. And a Days Gone 2. But, and just, think about what they could have done with the motorcycle and all that stuff. They even remastered Days Gone 1 for what? You're not making a sequel.
Exactly.
Like, why are you remastering? Why you keep bringing this character back in our forefront if you don't plan on doing anything with them? And I the thing is, the dichotomy of Sony drives me crazy this generation, because they are like, oh yeah, there's these glimmers of like, yo, there it is. Look at this game. Astrobot comes out. Look at that. Even that fighting game. You're like, yo, what a crazy deal. And then you just have that high horse, and then you have the other part where it looks like they can't get their shit together, and it always is around this multiplayer experiment that was issued by Jim Ryan. And when Thrifty was reading that shit to me about the whole, like, well, we'll promise 12 games in the next 3 years. Yo, that was un-Sony-like for them announcing initiatives. They didn't do that before. They just dropped games. They never were like talking about like, this is what we're gonna do, without showing gameplay, without showing a game, without showing a franchise. And
Yeah.
I just feel like that was unorthodox. It wasn't typical what they did, and I just can't believe how deep that mistake has taken them. Like when we see this, like it's just one thing
Well,
after another.
that was the thing. I had a whole conversation about this, where I wrote several essays on on Twitter with
Oh,
Logic, because about this, and because he was like, you know, what do people want them to do? You know, what does people think against PlayStation pursuing this and stuff? And I was explaining to him basically the same thing you said. Well, my concern is, even if it's not the main studios, which it definitely has
it seemed to be
affected
now. Yeah,
some of them, though, because I was like, and he was saying, like, you know, Ben was a support, and I was like, no, Ben has made, you know, and somebody else had corrected it. Ben has made Siphon Filter and a bunch of other stuff,
yeah.
and you know, of course, they had Days
And they
Gone
made
as well. So I was
Uncharted. They
like,
made the Uncharted
yeah,
game for the PSP.
exactly. So I was like, yeah, they're not just a support studio. I was like, they've
Vita.
definitely made, you know, plenty of things. I mean, they may not be the super A team that some of the other ones are, but I was like, they barely got a chance to try. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, they could have expanded and done some amazing work with you know, with the next Days Gone. You know, and like I said, I've had my criticisms of Days Gone. You know, obviously the performance was a big issue for me when it first came out, and I felt like the latter half of the game was a little too long, and some of the
Yeah. The islands.
XP was too slow
Yeah.
for the outposts. So it's like I didn't want to max out the outposts because I was like, oh, it's gonna take too long.
And those horde
So,
conflicts were ridiculous. Like you were so underpowered to fight the horde.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Like,
Like, yeah, some of the unlocks came too late. Like, I could give them plenty of things, but I know how game companies work, and I know when they make a sequel, they notate all that stuff and make improvements and adjust accordingly. And they definitely could have came correct with a ton of really great updates for that. And it's like they never got a chance to do that, you know. And it's like now they spent all that time burning the midnight oil and putting all that talent into that, you know, game that we'll never see. You know, we never seen it. You know, it never seen the light of day. You know, it's never gonna, you know, be shown publicly. You know, as far as we know at this point. And it's like, you know, it affected, you know, it affected them. You know, it's like now it's like, what else does it affect? You know, Naughty Dog spent, regardless of their teams being really big and them obviously still working on Intergalactic and stuff, how much more and how much you know, manpower could have been dedicated to that, you know,
we could have
if
got
they
Intergalactic this
didn't.
year or last year. Who knows? Like if they,
Exactly, we don't know.
if they didn't
Or
split
the
up their
other
team.
game, the other game that they haven't
Yeah.
announced would have had that team that was working on multiplayer working on that game, so they could have been
Mhm.
ready for go 2 for 2. You know what I mean? So it's like there's so many things where it's like that's affecting that. Then I was like, okay, say the new studios, because he was saying, well, I was like, my gripe isn't just that the new studios. The problem is how much money do you then spend, and how much do those failures end up costing you? You know, as
Yeah, the
opposed to
money's
the
coming.
wins, right? Yeah, the money's coming from somewhere, like you said, right?
Yeah.
And then like that's my other issue. It's like I felt like 12 was too crazy. 12 was like throw it at the wall and see what sticks. When
Yeah.
honestly, like you said, we know it hit when we see it. And it's like they used to. So I don't know what's going on right now, because when I seen
Right.
Helldivers 2, I said, we sat there, me and Morgan said, yo, I'm playing that day one. Helldivers 2 and playing that day one. That's all it took, one showing, because that's how PlayStation normally showed their games, right? So day one, no problem. Then, like you said, the battle token or whatever Souls game, Battle Souls or whatever,
Yeah.
the Marvel joint. I looked at that and I was like, yo, Arc Systems works is
Dude, it's
amazing.
perfect. Yeah.
They do phenomenal work. Guess what? I have zero interest in that game, but I know it hit when I see one. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's the difference. Like, I still knew that looked fire. That's the difference. And I was like, if you're looking at something internally, especially from a live service standpoint, and you can't tell me, you can't answer yes to one of these questions, then you're doing it wrong. And those questions are, if I'm bringing something to market versus something that's already on there, what am I going to do better that's going to make those players come play? Right? And if I that's a no, then the other answer should be, what am I doing that's new that I'm bringing to the table that hasn't been on offer out here? And that's why I told him, I was like, Helldivers 2, I can't get that experience nowhere else but Helldivers. That's what I mean when I say you got to bring something new or create your own lane. They like PvE and PvE co-op is severely underrepresented in the live service space. And so they did that, right? And then I told them, I was like, as successful as Helldivers is, and I really, really enjoyed myself, the other part you have to ask yourself once you get that initial success is, what are you going to do in the live service game? Because that's the part where a lot of people fumble. We got the success, we got 300 million people playing. How do we keep them playing? And that is where, like I said, a lot of live service people underestimate the amount of support it takes to get to the level of something like a Fortnite.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think people understand. Like 80% of like the people that work at Epic work on Fortnite exclusively. Like, there's a reason they have so much content. Like, people don't even know. Like, there's the battle pass. Then there's like a sub battle pass. There's a dance battle pass. There's something like there's all this stuff. There's things to go with other things. Like during an event, during a season, there's like 30 things that happen. There's live events. There's collaborations with artists. There's like all kinds of stuff. And I was like, bro, how many people do you think you need to get all this stuff to work? I was like, you need a crazy live service team. And not saying like people are absolutely trying to match the craziness of Fortnite, because like I said, Fortnite is like a massive effort by Epic, right? But regardless, any live service team will tell you you need a massive team. Like even Bungie should know this, because that was a lot of their faults, right? They couldn't get tons of projects out on time. They delayed tons of expansions.
Well, do you think
because
they scared them?
Their live service team couldn't keep up?
You think Bungie walked in
that was
there and scared the shit out of Sony?
They're the ones that originally had the conversation. Like,
Yeah.
well, like this is what we heard, because I had this conversation this morning.
Well, Naughty
We
Dog,
heard
right?
they walked in there. Yeah, they walked in there and were like, "Oh, this is too much. You know, you guys are gonna have to turn into a super live support team." Blah blah, right? And I was like, okay, while that may have been the case, I'm not saying Bungie lied, right? Dial it back, give people what they originally wanted with a little something on top, and then give one of the smaller support teams, let them put out some extra guns, some weapons or whatever, and let people play factions too, because that's all people really wanted, right?
Yep.
At the end of the day. And that was the thing I said was, you know what the reason I was excited to play factions too, again, because it answers one of those questions I said earlier, which is it does something that I can't get anywhere else. No other game plays like factions. Like that, again,
They
bring me
left so
something
much
unique
money.
or do something better.
Even with the TV show, they could have put in the actors from the TV show as
Oh,
characters.
absolutely.
They could have built that whole world and had it and yeah, they could have done so much, tied it into the show, the season with the season. They could have had, they could have done so much with it. And yeah, I don't know. Like that's the thing. Like, and then you look at Fair Games. Like, is that game even going to come out, or is that game the next?
Yeah,
victim?
right.
Like how Jade's gone, Jade's Raven's gone.
Yeah,
Like
she
it
cut and
just.
ran.
And then you look at Bungie with their stuff and the deal they're dealing with Marathon stolen assets, and that game wasn't even mentioned at Sony Showcase. Like it didn't even acknowledge that game's coming out.
Yeah,
So,
that's the
I don't
crazy
know.
part, man. It's a wild time in gaming. That's
Let them have
why
an open beta, something. They didn't do
that's
nothing.
why with kind of the break in big news and kind of the way that the showcases after the Sony one panned out, like I was like, you know what, we're just gonna focus on a lot of gaming for most of the night, and then we'll spend the last hour and a half talking about the news shit, because it was a crap week for news, man. Like the Switch 2 selling 3.5 million, that's pretty cool. Somebody in the chat mentioned earlier, and in the Discord also, they want to see. Nate, I think it was you, wanting to see how it plays out long term on it. And then
Oh, the Switch.
Yeah,
the Switch success.
Like,
It's gonna be the hottest
Yeah.
Christmas present.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're gonna. I mean, Switch is always gonna sell, right? Switch 2 is gonna sell, right? But
Overhyped as shit.
there were there were there were a lot of factors that boosted the Switch's initial success with COVID. Like I said, I at the time told people I worked in the movie industry, so I worked with a lot of people who did not game, who when COVID happened, their first thought is, since they don't game, what was the last thing I played? Oh, Nintendo. I
Yeah.
play Nintendo stuff. So
And
they
Animal Crossing
automatically,
came out too during
yeah,
that,
and
which was
Animal
like,
Crossing,
oh my god,
exactly. That
people went crazy
and a
on
lot
that.
of the people I worked with in the industry were women. And guess what they told me? Oh, I went and got one of those Nintendo Switches, and I like Animal Crossing. It's so fun. Like I don't
Yeah.
even play games, but like it's a lot of fun. Like,
That's how they
and
get you.
I was like, see, that's how they get you. And I was like, see, Nintendo has that very innocent, come back to your childhood. We're still here for you thing going. So whenever people who don't game go back and they don't have someone in their life that games or whatever, they immediately go, I'll just pick up a Mario game. Do they still make those things? And they gravitate right back to Nintendo. So they got a massive boost in that. That's why, Animal Crossing went on to sell like 60 million copies or something crazy, right? And like I'm like, obviously, unless something like that happens again, but like if it's gonna have to stand on its own merit, its own grounds, this is a very different time than when the Switch came out, right? You're talking about the Switch 2 is gonna be the new hotness, for a little bit. That's gonna, once that wears out in these initial games, if you're not if you're like me, you're not interested. I'm not interested in Metroid. I don't really care about Donkey Kong. So none of their initial lineup even interests me. And like we talked about earlier in the chat, I was like, I haven't really been digging any of this weird spin-offs for Pokemon. I just want a regular straight up Pokemon, and they just don't want to give it to me. So with very few exceptions, like their RPGs, like Xenoblade, and their SRPGs, with Fire Emblem, I'm not really looking for anything. And I know a lot of people who basically use their Switches as basically RPG machines. It's for exclusive RPGs that come to that platform. So that's why I said I think it's gonna be real interesting to just kind of see. A lot of people are also not a fan of the game key cards. I'm really, really not a fan of the virtual um, cards, the way they're handling digital. That is so messy when you have more than one Switch. Like, because we still have my Switch OLED, and then she has the Switch 2,
Yeah,
and
how
it's
does it
like
work?
that alone is messy. So
Like the
like
games you
every
own
time.
digitally on the Switch, you got to like lend them out to the Switch
Yeah,
too.
yeah. So I gotta switch them between the two consoles all the time. Like it
Oh,
goes through a process, and it's like, hey, we're now allowing this Switch to switch over and do this. You know what I mean?
oh, see,
As opposed to like a PS5 where I could just, yeah. And this is how the Switch used to work. The Switch One used to work this way until they updated it to this new mode where they used to work where you had a home console and everybody could play your games on that console
yeah.
like they can on a PlayStation. And I love that. I was perfect for that. But now everything has to be linked and it has to be linked out. And so like before you could do the double thing. So like she could play one of my games digitally in there, and then I could still play that game over here.
Share it, like game
Because
share it.
yeah, and
This is
like
the
game
home
sharing.
console.
Yeah, but they ripped that digital virtual thing,
It's only one
ripped
time.
all that apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only one
So
time.
there's
It's only across one console, and then they always, so sometimes when you're messing with that, sometimes they need to be like the Switch will ask to be near the other Switch and stuff like that. Like it's so, oh my God, bro, it's
so
so
like if I
annoying.
had Smash Brothers on my Switch 1 and I get the Switch 2, I can't
Mhm.
play Smash Brothers on the Switch 2. It has to be lent out or
No, no, no. So you can play it, but initially when you activate it, it's going to be like, hey, we want to bring it over from your Switch 1 into your Switch
so
2.
nobody could play it on the Switch 1. I got to lend
Yeah,
it
so
out.
yeah, you gotta send it back to the Switch 1.
That's
Oh, and then you
gross.
can't play it on the Switch 2 while it's lent out either.
Exactly. Yep.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, bro,
See, and that was the
it's
difference
so
because, like, with
annoying.
the PlayStation, they kept the PlayStation 4 as its own generation. So they said the PlayStation 4, you could have a home version, and keep that away, and the PS5 didn't take that away. So like, if you had that's why people could play PS4 versions of games while playing on the PS5 because they kept it as separate generations.
Exactly, and that was a brilliant way to do that.
Yeah.
Guys, we're gonna have to see how that shakes out. We've been War1 in the chat brought up a good point. Said say whatever you want, but Nintendo doesn't lose sight of what gaming is about: playing games and having fun. And that is
simple
something
controls too.
That that's something that is not lost, especially with the success of a lot of games last year. Like if y'all remember, every single game almost that was a success last year had one common thread: they were just fun. Like Stellar Blade, fun. Rebirth, fun. Not Helldivers. Helldivers was last year?
1,000 people, the highest PlayStation game on Steam.
Space Marines 2.
Just came
fun.
out.
You know what I mean? Like, the highest PlayStation game on Steam do what?
Yeah, Stellar Blade released on PC, and it has
yeah.
the highest, most amount of play is more than any PlayStation published game.
Like absolutely. Like, we are coming into this renaissance almost of gaming where we're getting revivals of kind of that old school mentality. Let's just give the players something fun. Let's give them something that they're going to be able to sink their teeth into and have a great time with. Let's not overthink it. Let's not make it to this or to that. Let's just give them a complete experience. And thankfully, dear goodness, thankfully, we have indie studios that are partnering with companies like Sony or companies like Kepler Interactive, and they are making these things happen. There's gaming companies out there whose sole jobs, and I didn't know this until Kepler Interactive came into the scene because of Expedition 33. There are companies out there that literally just have money sitting aside to help these indie studios if they need it. Like it's literally, hey, come to us, we can help you. We got you. And Kepler isn't the only one that does that. Like, you look at Deep Silver, and they used to do a lot of that type of stuff with smaller studios. Not Deep Silver, Volition. I can't remember if Deep Silver is owned by Volition or if Volition is owned by Deep Silver, but like those companies, they produce a lot of like smaller titles, and they work with these smaller studios.
Focus Interactive.
Thank you. Focus Interactive. Another one. Like, these companies are keeping us as gamers well-fed, well-satiated, and we constantly look at things. Also, China Hero Project, India Hero Project, like, we're getting Lost Soul Aside fucking finally. Phantom Blade Zero is coming out next year. I am so excited for both of those. We're getting Tides of Annihilation more than likely next year. We're getting GTA 6. The only big game on that whole list that I mentioned is GTA 6.
Oh, that don't play on an Xbox.
It will not. That's the other thing. If you have heard all of this and you're like wondering what's going on with this Ally and why we're talking about an Xbox right now, like, think about it this way. You are going to get a quote-unquote Xbox handheld that cannot play GTA 6 because GTA 6 is available on Xbox and not on PC. Therefore, your handheld is not a fucking Xbox. You're welcome. Congratulations. Thank you, Jess, for pointing that out. Like, that's just like, it's...
Xbox don't play GTA.
And point blank and period, though, here's the fun part. No matter what, no matter where you game, do you game on Steam? Do you game on Xbox? Do you game on PlayStation? Do you game on Switch? Like, no matter where you choose to game, if it's your money, spend it wherever the fuck you want, play the games you like to play, don't let anybody tell you otherwise, and at the end of the day, if somebody looks at you and goes, man, that game sucked, I hated that game, you can look back at them and go, you know what? Has some flaws. Be honest. And then go back to playing the fucking game. Because it's your money, and it's your time, and it's your enjoyment. With all of that being said, I'm going to let these two guys on here talk about where you can find them. Nate, you're at the top. I'm sure Priscilla's talking to you. Where can they find you?
Yeah, man. Every Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern on the Otter Players podcast. Otherwise on Twitter and Blue Sky at The Real Innate. Besides that, man, you can always find me gaming because that is what it's all about.
That is absolutely what it's all about. Jez, I know you play a shit ton of stuff. Where can they find you, man?
You can find me over at Jez7780 X. Oh, one of them on Twitter and then on X, and then find me at Gaming Grindhouse on YouTube. But yeah, I'll be doing some streaming. I'm probably gonna do the Gears beta this weekend. I actually had Mind's Eye, but I refunded it because I heard of all the issues. So I had to pre-order it, and I was like, before I even start it and have to deal with a return and all that stuff, I just said I'm not even downloading it. I had it pre-downloaded, and on one of my PlayStations, I didn't even start it up. I was like, you know what? This thing sounds like a technical disaster that needed more time to cook. So I refunded it, and then I was able to switch to. So I'm excited about that over the weekend. We'll see what I get if that falls through. Hopefully, I don't know. I got it at Best Buy, so we'll see. And I'm gonna be just I'll be streaming, and I'll probably do a show later this week, probably on Friday, where I go over a couple of those videos that came out, Digital Foundry one, and there was another video that I wanted to kind of react to and go over. But yeah, hit that like button here, and definitely follow me over at the Gaming Grindhouse.
Yeah, guys, and always remember,
It's coming.
Oh shit! I gotta get that back.
just remember that, guys. We have so many games coming out over the next several months. Like, I know I'm in a lull, but I'm probably one of the few. And my gaming season will pick up back again once August hits, and then I'll be broke and not have time for anything other than the PlayStation, which is fine. But I'm excited, guys. Gaming should make you excited. Gaming should not make you depressed or unhappy. Gaming should stir emotions. They should stir excitement. And I, for one, am excited for what the rest of this year has to bring. And with that, I am also excited at 12:12 a.m. in the morning to go to sleep. So y'all have a wonderful night. And as always, guys, stay thrifty. And thank you to the panel for coming out. Super appreciative. I will see y'all later. Y'all have a good night.